Good evening, good early morning. Hello, hello. I am just going to wait a second, see if the notification goes out. For some reason, I always seem to go live late because, you get busy with in the day doing stuff that needs to be done. But I wanted to touch base with you guys and just kind of fill you in on some of the updates that I've seen. Hello, 556. Hello, Carol. Thank you for joining. So yeah, yesterday was pretty crazy. And there have been not a lot of updates, but there has been some movement on the case. And I just wanted to, kind of touch base with you guys. Some of the information that I'm sharing with you guys of an earlier press conference that was held earlier today, I'm going to be seeing for the first time with you. Some information has come to light that we were not aware of previously, at least not in great detail, because we're just citizens and we don't, need to necessarily know things. So, it's unfortunate that we have to wait until things like this nature happen and then you start, finding out who and what you're dealing with. So the first one is a short clip that I'm going to play to you, and then the other one is a little bit longer. I am not sure. Again, I'm going to be hearing the longer clip with you guys for the first time, but I'm going to play this first clip just to kind of let everybody know. Hey, Pan Lake Bane.
We have a brief but significant update for you this afternoon. At 11:30 a.m., a deceased male was located on the James Smith Cree Nation. At 1:17 p.m. today, it was confirmed by Saskatchewan RCMP Forensic Investigation Section that the deceased is Damien Sanderson. His body was located outdoors in a heavily grassed area in proximity to a house that was being examined. We can confirm he has visible injuries. These injuries are not believed to be self-inflicted at this point.
Damn it.
The exact cause of death will be determined in conjunction with the Saskatchewan Coroner's Office, with the date and time for that examination to be determined. Miles Sanderson, Damien's brother, may have sustained injuries. This has not been confirmed. But we do want the public to know this because there is a possibility he may seek medical attention.
No, he ain't.
Even if he is injured, it does not mean he is not still dangerous. Miles has a lengthy criminal record involving both persons and property crimes. Miles is facing 3 counts of first-degree murder and is wanted. We consider him armed and dangerous. Do not approach him. If you know of his whereabouts, immediately call 911. Our thoughts continue to go out to the families of the victims. This brings the count of this tragedy to 11 deceased persons, 19 injured, and 13 crime scenes.
Okay, so I'm just going to read this article real quick because I thought it was noteworthy. So this article that is with this little clip, it says 7 months before the mass killing in rural Saskatchewan, a parole official ruled that the key suspect did not pose a danger and that was releasing him would help him become a law-abiding citizen. A Parole Board of Canada decision dated February 1st found that Miles Sanderson would not present an undue risk and freeing him would contribute to the protection of society by facilitating his reintegration. The board is satisfied that your risk is manageable in the community. Well, I guess you guys dropped the fucking ball there, didn't you? If you live with your, and it's blacked out, probably surety, if you maintain sobriety and employment and continue with developing supports, including getting therapy, the board wrote. I don't know where the rest of that thought went, but Sanderson became the subject of a massive police manhunt after 11 people were killed and 19 injured on the James Smith Cree Nation and in Weldon, Saskatchewan. Among the dead were Sanderson's brother Damien, who was also wanted. Police have said little about Sanderson except that he has a significant criminal record. Was last seen in Regina and was wanted on an arrest warrant for 3 counts of first-degree murder following Sunday's stabbings. But his parole records recount almost 2 decades of crime, as well as drug and alcohol abuse and associations with gang members, pimps, and drug dealers. Okay. Although he was only 31, he had 59 criminal convictions since turning 18. But he's no threat to society, you guys. His most recent convictions were for assault with a weapon, assaulting a police officer, holy shitballs, uttering threats, mischief, and robbery. Oh my God. Okay, I need to ask questions to this parole board because you guys are fucking morons. According to parole records obtained by Global News in July 2017, Sanderson showed up at his ex-girlfriend's house and acted in a threatening manner, made comments about a gang, and damaged property. While the children hid in a bathtub, oh my God. Ugh. He punched a hole in the bathroom door before going outside, throwing a cement block through the side window of a car. And he fled before the police arrived. Okay, yeah, you're right. He is absolutely no threat whatsoever. Days later, during an argument with an employee at a First Nations band store, Sanderson tried to fight the victim and then threatened to murder him and burn down his house, his parents' house. Again, police could not find him. Okay, well, this is not making the police look very good, in my opinion. In November 2017, he threatened an accomplice, hitting him in the head with a firearm. Oh my God, and stomping on his head. He then made the accomplice rob a fast food restaurant with a firearm. His parole records indicate. Wow. The following April, while drinking at home, he stabbed 2 men with a fork. Okay. So let's ban forks and knives. Eat with your fingers from now on. He then went outside and beat a victim who lost consciousness in a ditch. Sanderson returned to the home and kicked in the door. He was finally arrested in June of 2018 after telling police they would have to shoot him. Oh my God, you guys, this gets better and better every time oh my God. As he was being put into the police car, he kicked an officer in the face and head repeatedly, the parole board wrote. This is the parole board writing this. Oh my God. But no, nothing to see here. Let's just release him to the public. His prison sentence totaled 4 years, 4 months, and 19 days, along with 12 months of probation. Wow, if you're going to be a criminal, it sounds like this is the place to go live. During his time in federal prison, okay, all right, Sanderson participated in programming and cultural activities, engaged with the elders, the records show. He was reported to have made gains. In February of 2021, he was transferred to a healing lodge. He was freed in August 2021 on statutory release. The parole board said in a statement that the statutory release was mandatory after offenders had served 2/3 of their sentence. All right. But Sanderson's statutory release was suspended in November of 2021 when he was caught lying to his parole supervisor. Okay. 3 months later, the parole board canceled the suspension. Wow, man. There's a good thing about you have the right to remain silent because this isn't helping their cause. In its 10-page decision, the board wrote that while Sanderson had a significant journey, journey ahead and needed to stay sober and get therapy, he had been making an attempt to deal with his emotional and addictional problems. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's much deeper than emotional and addiction problems that, to your benefit, you do seem to have maintained sobriety. Well, yeah, it's easy to say sober in jail, you guys. Obtain employment, engaged a therapist, were engaged in cultural ceremonies, had obtained a home for your family, and appeared to have been making good progress on reintegration, the board wrote. It is the board's opinion that you will not present an undue risk to society if released on statutory release, and that your release will contribute to the protection of society by facilitating your reintegration into society as a law-abiding citizen. You got to be fucking kidding me, you guys. Upon his release, Sanderson was required to not consume any alcohol or drugs, follow a treatment plan, avoid his victims and their families, and have no contact with his children, as well as an individual only by the initials of VB. I don't know who that is. By May, however, Sanderson was listed by the Saskatchewan Crime Stoppers as unlawfully at large and was last seen in Saskatoon, about 200 kilometers southwest of the scene of Sunday's mass killings. According to his parole records, Sanderson spent his childhood bouncing between family members after his parents separated when he was 9. He lived with his father, who was allegedly violent with his girlfriend. He then moved in with his paternal grandparents, but returned to his father at age 11 due to an abusive environment. Okay, all right. For the remainder of his adolescence, he moved back and forth between his mother and father. A psychological report said his upbringing created a sense of abandonment and feelings of not being wanted, which it said played a part in his criminal conduct. Get the fuck out of here, you guys, okay? Like, listen, there is a psychological aspect to it, but like your little fucking pity party that you're trying to create for this guy, I'm not taking part of it. Sorry. You know who the ones I feel sorry for are the fucking victims. He started drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana at age 12 and began using cocaine at 14. In his mid-teens, he fathered a child with whom he has no relationship. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Maybe there's hope for that child. He may have been a gang member at one time. Oh, all right. Nothing to see here, as parole records indicate. Again, you know, when you have nothing good to say, stay quiet, because you're making yourself look more and more responsible. Oh my God, he had 5 more children, but said alcohol had harmed his relationship with their mother. No, it doesn't sound like it was the booze, bud. It sounds like because you're a nutcase. And there are reports of domestic violence in this relationship, and a no contact order was imposed as a result of previous domestic violence. Considering your Indigenous background, the board notes that there are factors from your background that may have contributed to your involvement in the criminal justice system. That I actually believe. Those include the intergenerational impacts of the residential schools, which is a very real thing, and I do sympathize with that. But again, whatever. Neglect, exposure to substance abuse, experiencing domestic violence during childhood, family fragmentation, lack of education, a loss of culture and spirituality. A psychological report completed in October of 2020 said Sanderson had reported past struggles with anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. He is believed it is believed that he has suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. The psychologist said Sanderson was taking psychotropic medication to manage ADD. Okay, you know what? I have ADD and I'm not on psychotropic drugs. So I'm sorry, but that's a different class. That's a antipsychotic. That's for a different class of mental health. So not buying that either. Sorry, but not sorry. And found that there was a moderate risk that he would reoffend. But, you know, this guy was released on parole to go on to, you know, massacre several innocent people. The RCMP said Monday that Sanderson might be injured. Regina Police Chief Evan Bray said he was very confident Sanderson was spotted in the city on Sunday. So that's I didn't even read that article. I just watched the video. So, you know, not helping this guy's, you know, case here. So here's another video I want to share with you guys before I open up the discussion. I'm sorry, I'm just avoiding the comments for right now so I can focus on this, because I have ADD that I do not take psychotropic drugs for. I take fucking Vyvanse, okay? That's a different class of drug altogether. So get the fuck out of here with your protecting. This is unbelievable. Like, you can't even make this shit up, you guys. Seriously. Hang on one second here. Let me get this other video that I haven't seen yet. So, in its entirety, that is. So 1 second, I gotta fast forward to the spot, because like the first 8 minutes and 50 seconds of this video are just nothing. It was a live press conference that was held earlier today. And I just want to watch it with you guys. I will look at the comments when I'm done. So, oh wait, this is the wrong one. Hang on one second. Unbelievable. Like, I didn't even know all of that before I went live. Good thing. Because, yeah, I'm sorry, but like, I'm sympathetic to people that have, you know, mental health issues, things of that nature. But don't try and paint this guy as a fucking victim. I'm sorry. Like, we've all had shit in our lives that have affected us in one way or another. It does not, and I repeat, not give you the fucking permission to go and destroy, you know, numerous people's lives because you've had a rough life. We've all had a rough life, okay? You don't make others pay for it, you fucking bozo. So 1 second while I get to the spot. Sorry, you guys, the Tourette's is in full force again. Here we go. Just a second. Here we go. Hang on a second. Okay, go. Whoops. Come on. Play, bitch. Dakota,
Okay,
knock
we'll
it
now
out.
take questions if anyone has any questions, and I'd ask that you step up to the microphone to ask those questions.
Hi, Bill Graveland from the Canadian Press. Since it doesn't appear that they were in Regina after all, assuming that they were up there all along, how does this impact your searching now? What's the next step?
I'm going to have Chief Bray answer that because some of the information has changed, but not all. We still have some relevant information.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think, you know, the most important thing to say is the information that we received yesterday about that vehicle being in the city with two people in the vehicle that matched the description is still relevant and believed to be true information. So I think, you know, we're quite confident in those facts. We've been doing investigations.
So let me just be clear in saying that this must have been before they found him deceased, this press conference.
As far as the ongoing investigation,
because one of the brothers is
we are
deceased
still operating under the
by
impression
what is believed to be non-self-inflicted wounds. So imagine that, huh? The brother turned on the other. Go figure. No honor amongst thieves, yeah?
Indeed Miles that was in there. The person that provided that initial information to us obviously was not able to say definitively who the people were in the car, but that it was that car and that there were two people in it. And further investigative efforts have corroborated much of that story. So we are still operating under the impression that Miles is in this community, and our efforts will continue working with the RCMP. You know, as we've said before, that information is now dated, and we haven't had any updates from it. So is it possible that they're no longer in this community? It is possible, but we don't have any information to disprove or point us either way on that.
And just to follow up, I'm thinking it's not wrong to assume that you believe that Miles is a suspect in the death of Damien?
We haven't confirmed that. We can't say one way or the other. If Miles was involved in the death of Damien, it is an investigative avenue that we are following up on, but we can't say that.
Are these guys fucking dense or what? Seriously.
Alex Salome, Regina Leader Post. Yes, the question that I have here relates to the 19 injured. How many are in critical condition? We've seen obviously go from 10 now to 11. Is there an expectation that the fatalities are going to grow? Can you speak to the state of the 19 injured people?
I can't speak to the medical condition of any of the persons who were injured, but we can confirm that there are 19 persons who were injured as a result of these attacks.
But you can't say if anybody's in critical condition?
At this point in time, no.
Okay. A question for Police Chief Bray. Again, the information
one of them is dead,
to
Shaggy.
Change, obviously.
To believe to not have been self-inflicted wounds. The press isn't saying, the police aren't saying, but obviously it's a no-brainer that one brother turned on the other. You know, we were receiving reports last night that they had been separated. Now we know why, because one brother after the other. In my opinion, you know.
Well, I think the most recent reliable information we have says that he is in Regina or was in Regina. The most recent. That most recent information is a day old. We acknowledge that, but we have nothing that can tell us differently. And so we're going to continue to operate on that. You know, keep in mind, this is eyewitness information that provided details on seeing the car confirming the plate. There was follow-up
These guys are
investigation.
fucking bozos, okay? They were sharing out pictures of the guy's social media that were like dated. The guy gained weight. He changed his appearance. They weren't even sharing accurate information. But the guy's at large, so don't worry about it, you guys. Like, just, you know, be on the lookout for somebody that doesn't look like this anymore.
There were 2 people in that vehicle, and so at this point, we don't know who else was in the vehicle.
Have you found the vehicle?
We have not located the vehicle.
Hi there, Shane Clausing, 980 CJB News. I just want to know, what's the message to people right now of James Smith Cree Nation?
Oh, just stay inside and lock doors and don't open them.
Just found dead there. Is there still a pretty large threat to that community? What's policing like? And I guess what is the situation going on right there right now?
We have a significant presence of police officers at James Smith Cree Nation. As you can imagine, it takes a significant amount of resources to process 13 crime scenes. So there is a large police presence there that will continue for several days, many days yet. As far as the threat, Miles Sanderson is still at large. We still are advocating for people to be vigilant, to remain vigilant. He is considered dangerous. His actions have shown that he is violent. And so we're continuing to emphasize for people to remain vigilant on those James Smith Cree Nation and the province of Saskatchewan and our neighboring provinces.
And this next question is for Constable Bray. How and where do you even begin to describe a situation like this that's happening in Regina? I mean, this must be, at least for the public, this seems like a needle in the haystack, kind of.
Yeah, and I think I've said this a couple of times before. We have hundreds of resources between the RCMP and the Regina Police Service working on this, and we're really coming at it from all angles. So there's not one. There's a lot of different ways to investigate this, and it's challenging because if you hear the feedback from the community or read social media, there's assumptions being made that certain things aren't being done. I can tell you with definitive assurance that tech crimes are involved in this. We have our investigative crimes involved in this. We have various different areas within our investigative services uniformed. We've got emergency services teams, not just with our police service, but with the RCMP. Air support is here thanks to the RCMP and neighboring provinces.
Alberta.
So there's a lot of efforts being put into this. And those efforts are not just within the city of Regina. Those include traffic services out on the highway. Those include working in communities with the RCMP. So from an investigative standpoint, you're right. We don't have any one specific area that we could focus in on and start going down that path to determine whether or not we might actually be able to locate.
You're not looking for a person at this point, in my opinion. You're looking for a body, I think, now.
Piece of information, and we reiterate once again the importance of getting this information in here. There are people that possess knowledge about Miles, where he is, about information that occurred over the last 24 to 48 hours that is going to be very, very important to this investigation. So once again, we reiterate to the community, we need to hear from you. Please reach out to the police or reach out to an organization that can get information to the police and provide us with what ultimately could be the missing piece to help tie this up and ultimately take Miles safely into custody.
You ain't taking him into custody, bro. You're taking him in a fucking body bag, okay? That's my opinion.
We recognize there's a lot of grief with tragedy like this, and unknown whereabouts. There's a lot of anxiety.
Ban the forks, ban the knives, ban everything. Plastics are dangerous.
So, we need to start the healing process, and until we can
healing, how can people heal when there's still a guy at large?
Hi, Heather Butts with CTV National News. I'm just wondering if you could expand on the injuries that you believe Miles sustained. What is it that has led you to believe that?
Go on Twitter and look up Saskatchewan stabbings,
injured that you're
counting. And that's how you'll find all this
information.
He's
one of the 11 deceased that we're counting. Sorry, Miles. You said, Miles. Yes. So his injuries, we can't confirm those injuries, but we do have strong reason to believe that he has sustained some injuries. We're not exactly sure what those injuries are.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's one of the 19 that you're now counting.
Yes. Yes.
I'm Tegan Rasha with Global News. Have you been able to think of what the possible motive could be for this?
That's still part of the investigation that will be ongoing for quite some time. We haven't established a motive at this point in time, but it is definitely part of the investigation.
And Miles could obviously be anywhere. Is there concern he could try and flee to the United States?
Yes.
We have made notification to Canadian Border Services Agency, so they are aware of his wanted status, and any identification he would provide would indicate on police record checks.
Did you get to it in time, though, is the question.
Brian Foley, CTV Regina. You did say that some of the attacks were known and some of them were random. Would we classify Damien as one of the known ones at this point?
At this point in time, yes. Prior to us having located Damien's body, there were other persons who we believe were targeted in these attacks.
And do you know how many were targeted and how many were random at this point?
I can't
know
say that
why?
for certain, no.
Perfect. And then is there aerial searches going on, and if so, where?
If Alberta's on the
Yes,
scene, yes,
there are
there is.
continuing aerial searches. We have multiple surveillance aircraft that are here in the province assisting us and conducting those searches in the areas that are designated as required by the investigative teams.
And still no word on the exact weapon that was used?
No.
Well, it better have been a
Jane
knife,
McMillan,
because if it's a
Australian
gun and we don't know about it, then you guys are
you able
even
to
more
provide
fucked than
any
I give you
information
credit
at
for.
this point in time on the people who have lost their lives? Anything about their ages, genders, where they've come from, anything like that?
The only information we know is that there were no children or infants attacked that we're aware of. The ages are older than that. There is a wide span of ages of these individuals.
I believe the youngest so
both
far from
males
what we
and
know is
females were
23.
victims of the attack.
I think there was one report that suggested there was a 14-year-old boy.
No,
Are
I
you saying
didn't
that
hear
is
that.
not correct, or what is the age cutoff there?
I believe the youngest age is a person who was born in 1999.
Right, 23.
John Karen Sass today. I'm just curious if you have any updated photos of Miles that
Yeah.
you'd be able to share with
Can
the
you
public.
spread
I know
out
that
accurate
there's been,
information, you fucking
on
loser?
social media, there's
Sorry.
been photos of
Not
Miles
sorry.
that have been shared
This
out
guy's
there.
wanted, but we're
Just
gonna
wondering if
show
you're
what he looked
planning to
like
do the
20
same
years
fairly-
ago.
fairly soon.
The investigative team is working on that right now to determine if an updated photo would better reflect his current, what he looks like now.
Yeah, you
Keeping
think?
in mind, he may also have injuries as well.
Yeah, keep in mind that you're spreading a fucking photo that doesn't even look like the guy anymore, dumbass. God, sorry,
just
the
to clarify
Tourette's
something,
is
were you saying
on
that
point
Damien
today, guys.
was one of the people that was targeted by Miles? I just want to clarify a question that was answered earlier.
We can't say for sure how Damien came to be deceased, but he could potentially have been. We can't say that for certain.
Hi, Gareth Dillistone with CTV Regina. In your experience in decades of policing, I mean, here we're having a news conference on a Monday, a statutory holiday. We have the Regina Police Chief, the Assistant Commissioner for F Division. You're in the building, you're wearing your duty belts. How big of a crisis is this from a law enforcement point of view in your experience?
Are you kidding me?
This is a significant event to the province of Saskatchewan. I don't think anyone would dispute that.
That was a dumb
we have a
question.
significant number of deceased
God.
individuals, and it is something that has been made our highest priority. From myself and Chief Bray right on through down to our frontline members, we are working extremely hard to apprehend Miles, and as well to process the crime scenes and make sure that the families have the information that they are seeking and need. So there are certainly a lot of different avenues to this situation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Were they brothers or cousins? Is there any relationship that you can disclose at this point?
We have been able to confirm that Damien Sanderson and Miles Sanderson are brothers.
Not anymore, they're not.
The other thing, yesterday during the press conference, you weren't able to share details about their criminal record.
Yeah, that's come to light today. Boy, oh boy, no wonder why they're hiding it.
Unlawfully at large since May 27th. I guess, why wasn't that communicated
Bingo,
earlier
bud.
to the public, and why wasn't that communicated specifically
How's this
yesterday
guy been on the
during
loose
media
since May?
availability when
with his record. Get the
Right,
fuck
so
out
we're
of here.
gathering more information. We have been able to confirm Miles' criminal record. He does have an extensive and lengthy criminal record. The information yesterday that was important for us to get out was the fact that he was a dangerous and violent offender.
But he was let out on
Having
parole.
committed first-degree murder is indicative of that, obviously. So that was the priority for our information, to get that information out to the public.
Oh, was
He was
it?
known
Why
to
did it take
police.
over 24 hours for it to come
Definitely
out?
known to police, yes.
Do you know if the two people who were going out yesterday on the killing spree, if they were attacking each other at the same time, or victims at the same time, or did they kind of separate and go their own ways?
We can't speak to that at this point in time. That's part of the investigation.
They don't know, in other
The
words.
investigative team is putting together the chronology of how the events unfolded. Because as you can appreciate, as the calls came into our operations center, that doesn't necessarily mean how those victims were attacked in that order. So that's all part of the investigative process as they put that together.
Every time they say it's part of the investigation, that
Are you
means
able
they
to
don't
describe
know.
Damien's wounds? You just said that he was injured and found deceased.
At this point in time, I can't speak to that right now.
Okay,
Right.
and you have said that this was a stabbing. It's being talked about as, one
No,
of
they
the
didn't say it was a
biggest
stabbing.
mass murders in Canada. It's different because it's a stabbing. Are you able to say if all 10 victims prior to Damien's
Part of the
death
investigation, you
were
guys.
stab wounds?
We believe the victims were stabbed, but that is still being confirmed at this point in time to make sure that we have confirmation of that. But that is our belief at this point in time, yes.
And given the fact that he was found on the First Nation, you believe Miles may be in that area. How wide is your search net right now? What are you telling people of the province and neighboring provinces?
So right now we can't, similar to what Chief Bray said, we can't eliminate anything. And so the information we had yesterday with the witness account that we believe they at that time, now we believe to be Miles, was in the city of Regina, was the last credible information we have. But we can't discount any of those investigative avenues. So we're making sure that we're keeping our investigative possibilities open, because we certainly don't want to be limited in our view of this.
You were anticipating information on the victims. At what time can we anticipate that today?
We're still waiting to get confirmation from the family members. So I don't have a specific time for you, but hopefully we can have that later today or tomorrow for you.
I guess, Chief Bray, as people are getting ready to send their kids to school tomorrow, as people are getting ready to go back to work tomorrow, what message you have for people in Regina as this manhunt continues, and as we have very little information about where this guy might be, outside of knowing that he is violent and is frequently killed in the recent days?
So I'll start by saying we have a large number of resources on this, and we will continue to have those resources working on this until we either locate and safely arrest Miles or prove that he is no longer in this community. And that's something that we're working on constantly with the RCMP. Obviously yesterday we had a very large event in the city with the Rider game, thousands of people in the city. And so we took steps to ensure that we had extra resources to enhance safety. I think a big part of it is communication and continuing to communicate with the public. And we
Which
will
you
continue
failed
to do
epically
that as
at,
well.
by the way.
Any new developments that come, any changes that may happen over the next few hours between now and tomorrow. At the end of the day, as we've been talking about, and you brought up earlier, this is the most recent credible information we have, but it's also quite stale. And so we can't say for certain that he is still in the community.
He ain't in the community.
He is. And so we will continue to exercise safety and diligence. We encourage people to be aware and
Got that right,
report
brother.
anything that seems suspicious or out of the ordinary. Again, people understand, people know their surroundings better than anyone. And so oftentimes it's not as simple as the police coming in and doing searches in neighborhoods or in areas. But if people see something that's disturbed, we had a call the other night, a person called us to say, I haven't used my garage in a long time, but I noticed that some stuff has been moved and I think someone's opened the door in the garage. That's a very pertinent piece of information. Turned out to be not related to this incident.
So it's not
Anything like
pertinent
that people
then.
notice, they should report. We will investigate. And I think that's what's going to be successful in resolving this.
But for a nervous parent putting their kid on a bus tomorrow, how concerned should we be?
Well, I mean, I think at this point we have no information to
12 jurors,
lead
one
us
judge,
to
half a
believe
chance.
that there is an imminent threat right now to anyone or any one person in this city. But we recognize we have not arrested this individual. The information is old, albeit the most recent we have that he was in this community. And so I would encourage parents to exercise diligence and caution, making judgment statements on those types of things. There's a fine line between making sure that we're diligent in reporting information and giving people all of the information they need, and giving what I would say a false sense of worry in terms of the situation and the danger that's present in the community. So
a false sense of worry. I wouldn't be putting my kids on any bus
investigate this
till this
we'll
guy's
communicate with our community on
carried
that,
home.
and hopefully be able to provide some positive information between now and tomorrow morning.
Can you give any detail on Miles's lengthy record, like what he was?
Why is he on the street? In other words,
Miles' record dates back quite a number of years, and it includes both property and persons crimes. So persons crimes are those committed against other individuals. Obviously, property crimes involved theft or damage.
Oh, what police work we have here?
Yes.
Persons crimes?
Yes. I don't believe there's anything on his record for a previous homicide.
No,
That
but there's
is
a
what
lot of
he
things
is
leading up to
currently
this.
wanted for is for first-degree murder, though.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the fact that he
Take no
has been missing
accountability,
since
right?
May, has not been found? There's reports that he may have taken an ankle bracelet off. Is that alarming?
I can't speak to any of the measures such as the ankle bracelet.
Oh my God.
There were
I haven't heard
warrants
of that.
for his arrest. But I can tell you there are many individuals in this province who have warrants for arrest. So, we do have a specialized team. We have the warrant enforcement suppression team.
God, this is sounding better and better, isn't it?
That is their focus. That was a result of resources provided to the RCMP by the province of Saskatchewan last fall. So that team is up and running as of the last few months, and that is their focus. But given the number of people,
it sounds like that team should be fired.
in the province, they have to risk manage files as they come into their acknowledgement here.
If there's an update tonight, how can we expect it?
Okay, I've heard enough. That's the end. Basically, there's 22 seconds left of the press conference. So, I didn't know about the ankle bracelet thing. Keep in mind this great police detective work that we're hearing of right now in Saskatchewan. It's an embarrassment to Canadians as a whole, I think. And the two towns that this occurred in is in the prairies, meaning there is nothing. You can open your door in Manitoba and see Alberta. That's how flat this shit is. There's nothing in between. So, and the two towns that these crimes occurred in have a population of 3,600 people. Okay. And you couldn't find a guy on a reserve in the middle of fucking nowhere, since May, that had removed an ankle bracelet, supposedly, in a town of 3,600 people. How in the fuck are you going to find them? Now there's Manitoba, there's Alberta, and then there's North Dakota on the other side. He's native, there's a chance maybe he got to the border before this was released, because there was time lapses in between. Natives have dual citizenship. He would have been able to cross if he got, not that I'm saying that he is. In my opinion, I don't think we're looking for a person at this point. I think we're looking for a body. That's just my opinion. If you're going to lose your mind, kill all these people, and then ultimately kill your brother, you're not coming out of this alive, okay? And that was never your intention, to come out of this alive. So again, I just want to draw attention to the fact that Miles Sanderson, one of the brothers, was not considered a risk by the parole board, even though he had 59 charges and is 30 years old. And assault with a weapon. He had previously stabbed people, all of that's okay. And it's insanity, And the more I hear about it, my God, no wonder why it's taken them this long to put together a press conference, because like you cannot make yourselves look good out of this. There's no way to do that, you know. And because I'm a critical thinker, I'm going to ask the questions. Why was this guy on the loose since May with the history that he's got in such a small area? Why was it allowed to escalate to this point? You know, and where's the accountability? Like, you know, you want to hold regular average citizens to laws and to accountability, but what about the ones making the laws? Hello, this is what I've been saying for like 3 years now. What about the ones making the laws that, you know, maybe don't necessarily want to enforce them, or you know, I oh my God, I can't wrap my head around this as a logical person, because it's like there's so many failures. And if I were one of the victims' families that are now deceased because of the hands of these two assholes, I would be going after every single person who allowed these people to walk on the streets with the history that they have leading up to the event of my loved one dying because of gross negligence, in my opinion. There's just no words that are going to satisfy a grieving family. Oh, well, you had it hard. You know what? So have we all. So that doesn't fly in my books. I'm sorry, you know. And if your opinion's different than that, it's okay. You know, we all look at things differently, and I tend to be a little bit more unforgiving with stuff like this because, you know, I know what it's like to lose loved ones. Not even to a homicide, actually, just natural causes, or, you know, victims of circumstance, wrong place, wrong time, car accident, things like that. You know, if I, oh my God, I would lose my shit if one of my family members was killed at the hands of these guys, and I come to find out that the Saskatchewan police were very aware of who these individuals were with the history that they have, and allowing them to walk freely, to escalate and now commit murders, multiple murders. There is no rock that these people could hide under that would make them safe. In my opinion, I would be out for proverbial blood. I would make sure that they lost every single thing that was sacred to them. Legally, of course. I don't mean to sound like a, you know, vigilante, but like I would take things to the fullest extent of the law, and I would spend the rest of my life fighting for justice, because this is not justice. And don't fucking tell me I can see it as a citizen without a law enforcement background. You know, his crimes were escalating. Oh, well, you know, he had a rough home life, and he was beaten and he was neglected, and oh my God, now he has drug and alcohol problems. Like, welcome to the rest of the fucking world, man. You're not exempt. Like, I mean, and you don't get a pass. I'm sorry. Not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry. This is how I feel. This is how a lot of people look at these situations. And as far as I'm concerned, the people that deemed this guy not a threat to society should be sitting in that fucking cell next to this bozo if they end up bringing him out of this alive, which in my opinion, he's probably already laying dead somewhere, as he should be. Not that I like talking like that, because I take death very, very hard, you know, but in a situation like this where you've taken multiple innocent people's lives, and now a country is hanging in the balance. Like, look at how long it took them to go in between press conferences. One of them, I believe, was on parole, or I don't know if he was on house arrest, because I just heard something about an ankle bracelet that I have not yet heard. And you know, the way that the cop answered was sort of like, well, you know, we kind of don't really want to talk about that part, because again, it just shows a straight up failure. Like, doesn't that send, you know, a signal? Like, if you're wearing an ankle bracelet and you are able to take it off, wouldn't there be like some sort of trigger that goes to like the police station or whoever is responsible for monitoring these things? Wouldn't there be like ding ding ding, you know, something's not right here? Like, we haven't seen this fucking ankle bracelet move in 3 days. Like, what, is the guy dead, or is he sitting still? Like, doesn't he have to piss? Like, what's happening? You know, or is that only questions for the logical? I don't get it. Let me see the comments, because I haven't really been looking at the comments too much, like here and there, but I'm just gonna go straight up to the top because I wasn't listening. So yeah, right. Of course, government drops the ball and gets 10 people killed. Yeah. Ban fully semi-automatic assault works. Yeah. Yeah. Antisocial disorders going on with this crap. Well, again, you know, that one drug is an antipsychotic, which is a different class of a mental illness. That's usually given to people that suffer from schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, or mental illnesses in that category, where you're seeing like hallucinations or things of that nature. It's not like a depression, an anxiety, or an ADHD problem. Yeah, so I don't know how that excuse is gonna fly. Oh, this shit pisses me off, man, because, like, you know, people are now gone because of this. Yeah, it's definitely gonna end badly, for sure, 100%. Yeah, there's no return. Let's see what happened. I'm in a bit. Oh, so there's 2 guys that are wanted. Well, actually, not 2 anymore. There's 1. So 2 brothers went on a mass stabbing spree in the province of Saskatchewan in Canada. And it's been discovered today, one of the bodies of their 2 brothers. And one of the bodies was discovered near the crime scene to have been found with injuries that were not self-sustained, in their opinion. It wasn't a mass shooting, it was a mass stabbing. Yeah, they got these blanket statements in terms of what they're releasing. And I don't think it's necessarily to compromise the investigation. After, you know, learning what I've just learned within the last couple of hours, I think it's more to incompetence and gross negligence, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? You know, I'm just a fucking moron on the streets, you know. I thought that last night too, Shangy, that they were heading to Alberta. But again, there was a delay from the time that the first initial report was taken. I believe that was around 5:30 or 20 to 6 a.m. Yesterday morning, Central Standard Time. And then there was a delay for the information to reach outside of the general vicinity. So who knows how far they were willing to travel or were able to travel. There was also reports yesterday that they were together, and then I heard that they had been separated. Well, we don't know what time, you know, the death occurred of one of the brothers, so that information was not true. The pictures that they're releasing of the guys, one of the brothers doesn't even look like that anymore. There was pictures circulating last night on social media saying like, hey, don't you think it's important for the general public to have an accurate picture of what this guy looks like, so you know they can take the necessary precautions to make sure that they're not the next victim? But let's pass around a picture that's, you know, dated and 40 pounds lighter of the guy, different look, different everything. But you know, I don't know. In my opinion, if he's willing to kill his brother, then there's not much he's not willing to do. It's hard to say. I mean, maybe that's why they're not releasing a lot of information. Maybe there are guns involved at this particular point. We don't know that. I don't want to speculate. And you know, when I offer my opinion, I clearly state that that is in fact my opinion. I'm trying to keep, you know, my opinions out of it. We know that I don't agree with this situation, that I'm not happy about it. Agreed, Mandy. I was talking about this yesterday. Stabbing is more personal than a gun. it's in my opinion, it's from someone that you know that has personally done you wrong. It's a more personal attack, in my opinion. Well, one of the victims were family, and it was believed possibly to have been his brother. We don't know that at this time, but I'm pretty sure if it was one of the family members that found the guy and did this to him, that would be common knowledge. So I guess the assumption at this point is that, you know, one brother turned on the other. Imagine that. Huh? Unless some attempted victim shot him. But again, I would think that that would make news. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know for sure, but. And again, you know, my question yesterday was, why was this guy, you know, at large since May and allowed to escalate this to this event? There have been some similarities. Some people have stated that, you know, but again, you know, going back to the Nova Scotia massacre, that incident, you know, as we all remember, and we were all sitting by our phones waiting for updates and things when that was occurring, that became politicized, and you know, that overshadowed the actual tragedy that took place. And it's important for the news to not sensationalize this, or in our case the government, because it was going with his agenda of banning certain assault rifles at that particular time. And we're now finding out through what do you call it, investigations and inquiries, that there was pressure from senior levels of government to find out the type of weapons that were involved in that, and to pursue his agenda. So again, you know, sticking to the actual tragedy itself, not trying to get political, not trying to sensationalize this news, because at the end of the day, these are people's family members, and that can't be lost on this. Yeah, a whole lot of we are unsure. Yeah, you picked that up too, huh? Brings a whole new meaning to you are your own first responder. Absolutely. You cannot rely on these idiots to protect you. That's absolutely right. I agree 100%. Not hard to take off ankle bangles. Well, I wouldn't know. Thank God I wouldn't know. This would be pure comedy if it wasn't so sad that 10 innocent people are dead due to government failure. Absolutely. Is it possible he got to the border before his identity was released? That's the question of the hour. I questioned that yesterday, because natives in this country have dual citizenship. And if he made it to Alberta, there's a couple remote border crossings. One's in Coots, Alberta, and the other one is near Waterton Lakes. And they're very, very, very small and remote border crossings. And, you know, we can only hope that the information got to the right agencies in time. But again, you know, that's assuming that he had an exit strategy. And at this point, it's becoming clearer to me that he does not, especially if he's willing to kill his own brother. Yeah, I know. I'm just speaking of past experience of a dispatcher literally telling me as someone armed with a knife attempting to break into my house, saying basically, what? Wait, what? Hang on a second. Full stop. So you had someone armed with a knife trying to break into your house? Am I reading that right? And the dispatcher told you that you're basically on your own. Again, this is something we discussed in last night's live. What, like, I'm curious to know what country you're in or what area you are in. Do you have self-defense laws? Do you have stand your ground laws? Like, what's your, that's pretty crazy. Took the cops over an hour to show up. Are you kidding me? For someone trying to break into your house? Wow. Wow. Never wanted to or attempted to kill many people. I don't know why they were painting him. Exactly. there is a show that I've been binge watching lately on Netflix, and it's I Am a Killer, or I think that's what it's called. And so, you know, when they tell these stories of people and their heinous crimes, they always start out with the history of, you know, what led up to it. And there is no doubt in my mind that, you know, psychological things that happen to you absolutely affect your life on every level. But even gone through some pretty traumatic things myself, that doesn't excuse the fact that a crime is a crime is a crime. And murder, there is no explanation, in my opinion, other than self-defense. But that's just my opinion, you know. You live in Ontario. No shit, so do I. So I got to hear more about that story. Some cocaine ass lady tried robbing for drugs. Okay, so hang on a second. Wait a minute. Stop. Hang on. So let me get this straight. Someone was trying to break into your house armed with a knife, strung out on coke. You called 911 for help, as we do, you know. And it took the cops over an hour to get there, which is 100% unacceptable. But then the dispatcher tells you that you're basically on your own. Wow. Yeah, same. If I was in real danger and fear of my life, no. No. It would not happen. I would die fighting. Okay. I'm not going to lay down and let someone just, you know, stab me to death because they had a rough life. And oh my God, you know. Wow. I don't even know what to say to that, because it's just like, that is unfucking real. Like, I mean, what has happened to, you know, the world? What has happened to people? What has happened to law enforcement? How? There is a series of failures, in my opinion, that led up to this happening. And again, like I said before, if this was my family, if this was one of my friends, if this is one of my team members on my side, you know, that I love and hold near and dear to my heart, and this happened to, it's really hard as a law-abiding citizen to not want to get the attitude of FTP and I'm going to handle this shit myself. Because as much faith that you want to have in our law enforcement and our justice system, we keep seeing too many instances where it's just been one series of failures after another. I got no words. I mean, fuck. Okay, just a minute. I learned later in the day she tried breaking into 5 different houses on the block, and the cop didn't show up to the first 911 call location for over an hour and 30 minutes. What happened to a response time of less than 9 fucking minutes? Because if a person has a brain injury or has no oxygen to the brain, after 9 minutes, they are brain dead. We are supposed to have a response time from our first responders of less than 9 minutes. What the fuck happened to that? An hour and a half? Oh my God. See, the more you learn, oh, I feel sick. Like, seriously. I know. Stand your ground laws. I wish we did. Well, you know, right? Close to 2 hours. That's insanity. You know, holy shitballs. Okay, you guys. Like, this is why I have a 150-pound German Shepherd who thankfully loves his mom more than most people and will bite. And and I didn't even train him that way. It's just me and him, right? Like, so, you know, when you're a one person house and you have a dog, you're not sharing that dog's love with 5 or 6 people. So they become extremely, probably a little bit too much loyal, if there is such a thing. Not in my books, but and too overprotective. And that's Dakota, right? And my dog. And I couldn't be more thankful for him, because I'll tell you right now, somebody ever tried to break into this house, man. You know what I would do? I wouldn't call the fucking 911. You know what I'd do? I'd take a video. Because it's going to be some shit to watch them get absolutely shredded to pieces. This shit is just unbelievable. Okay, so now I see why there was a delay in the information coming out, because they don't want you to know this stuff. They don't want people to get angry. They don't want, like, again, you know, you just got to eat a shit sandwich, you guys. Like, you're not allowed to get mad. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to, you know, not agree with policies and procedures and mandates, because, you know, even though they're not fucking laws, you're just not allowed. It's just simply unacceptable. You're just a small fringe minority with unacceptable views that we're not sure how long we're going to tolerate you anyways. These people, you know, this is what our fearless leader has instilled in Canadians. So, you know, just rat on your neighbor and sell each other out, and, you know, just hate everybody, keep 6 feet away from people, don't talk to people, don't share your thoughts, because, you know, all of this is going to come out in the wash if you have any sort of critical thinking at all whatsoever. You know, we don't want people asking us the hard questions. We don't want people saying, how was this allowed to happen? Why? What's going to happen to you guys? Nothing, because you have your gold pensions and your fucking, you know, your invisibility shields from any sort of law or any sort of repercussions that may come against you. You know, even though you're 100% complicit in my mind, you might as well have been standing there with the guy swinging the knives at these people, in my opinion. But hey, you're not allowed. You're just a Canadian. You're just a number on the back of your fucking birth certificate, registered with the government, made on this earth to fucking pay taxes and die, and shut the fuck up if you don't like it. If you don't like it, go to another country. That's what they tell us. So, you know, you're not allowed to be angry. Just forget it. You know, just walk around and just, you know, wait till your head's so full of shit that you explode, and then go ape shit on innocent people and kill 10 people, destroy all these lives. But don't you dare get mad, and don't you dare, you know, we want these crimes to happen, in my opinion. You know, oh, fucking shit. I used to have very great respect and admiration for especially the judicial system. I used to believe in justice. I used to believe that, you know, things that are done in the dark will eventually come to light. I used to believe that if you are innocent, or sorry, you're innocent until proven guilty. That's another thing that has proved to be false in our country, probably in most countries, because, you know, especially with social media, before it even gets to a bail review or even, you know, court itself, you're already tried, judged, and executed before you even get to plead your case. Because that is the way the world works today, you guys. And if you don't like it, too fucking bad, because you're not allowed to have an opinion anyways. And if you do, you're just a fucking white supremacist, and you are just a tyrant, and you are just, what else? Misogynist, terrorist, all of these labels and buzzwords that I don't agree with. You know, people, open your fucking eyes. Open your eyes, okay? Seriously, if you don't see what's happening by now, there's no fucking helping you. This probably isn't the channel for you. Let me just put that out there. You know, it's just, it's a fucking mockery of what it's supposed to be. I used to want to be a lawyer because I believed in our judicial system. Get that. I used to, when I was a kid, when I grew up, and when I still grow up, I used to want to be a lawyer because that's how passionate I was about law and justice and doing the right thing and holding people accountable for shit like this. But how can you stand up and fight a system that you no longer believe in because of the things that you have seen against the wrong fucking people? This is the insanity of it all. It's against the wrong fucking people. We're criminals. We're pieces of shit in our fucking prime minister's eyes, you know, because we want freedom. Freedom means a lot of things to a lot of people. The events that have happened in the last couple of days is not freedom. But, you know, slowly taking our rights away one by one and thinking we don't notice, not on my watch, bud. I'll scream from the frickin' mountaintops if I have to. I really don't care. Go ahead, shut down another YouTube channel of mine. Woo. You know, not like I haven't been there fucking done that already. You know. I'll just make another one. And if YouTube thinks they're the only social media platform that allows live streaming, come again. You know, thank you. Come again. Not on my watch, okay? If I see shit, I'm gonna say it. And now it's funny that the cops are on TV saying the same thing. Oh, really? Because where were you guys when your very own people, the ones that we're watching on TV right now, were trampling, you know, freedom-loving patriots, an indigenous woman in a fucking walker, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to have faith in humanity anymore. It's hard to ignore this shit. And this is coming, all of this news is coming from someone who doesn't fucking have cable anymore, because I don't listen to the bullshit, you know, but you can't get away from it. You can't escape it. It's on social media. It's, you know, and I don't use much social media. I've been avoiding Facebook like the plague because I usually just end up like, you know, the Tourette's comes out and I tell someone something that their virgin ears are just too sensitive to fucking hear, because everyone's a bunch of fucking snowflakes anymore and nobody can handle the truth. So keep your mouth shut and just grab some knives and go around and destroy some people, because you're not allowed to speak your opinion, because we don't believe in freedom of speech anymore. That's a thing of the past, even though it's in our Constitution. Never mind. You're a fucking bad person if you want to uphold your rights as a human being. Our God-given rights, the highest law of the land, and you are an asshole if you want to invoke your freedom of speech or the security of the person. You know, don't worry about if you're threatened or, you know, some mass killer is coming after you. Don't worry about it. You know, just wait for the law to save you. It takes 2 hours for this guy, you know, for help to come to this guy when someone was trying to break into their house. You know, nothing to see here. Someone high on coke, no big deal. You know, not like that drug doesn't make people do sketchy things. Seen it firsthand. See it downtown every single day. Drive downtown in my city. I'm not far from downtown. I live in the hood. I love the hood. You know why I love the hood? Because they think you have nothing. Huh. So you could have like a fucking house full of like everything and they don't know it because everyone judges, right? So, you know, you live in this area, so you must not have anything of value. You must not be anything. You must be on the system. You must be on welfare. You must not have a job. You know, I let people think what they want. I get a kick out of it. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Underestimate us. Go right ahead. You know, you'd be surprised at what people have or what they know or who they are. Yeah, honk honk, you got that right. Woo woo. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sit on a fucking soapbox, but I mean, you know, these are things that have been going on for a long time, and it's about damn time someone takes accountability for the fuck ups they've made. And I firmly believe that, okay? I am a person with at times no pride. And I'll be like, you know what, you guys, I fucked up. I made a mistake and here it is. This is what I did, and I'm gonna own it. And I'm gonna own it before I got someone knocking on my door saying, you know, you did this. No. I'm gonna say I messed up. This is what I did. How can we fix it? How can we move forward? But people, you know, in higher levels of, you know, authority, don't believe in that. You know, like there's just no accountability. Like, you know, we can't admit that we fucked up. We can't admit that we let somebody on the street, you know, who shouldn't have been on the street to allowed to commit murders. You know, it's not our fault. He was deemed as safe to society. He was no threat, even though he had what 59 charges on him and he was only 30 or 31 years old. Dude, I don't even want to say how old I am, but I'm a lot older than 30 or 31. I got no charges on me. You know why? Because I abide the laws. Might not like them, might not agree with them. You know, I might break the odd law, like maybe not wear my seatbelt or something stupid, like a traffic act kind of, you know, law. If that's even a law, I think it's a act more than a law, but you know what I'm saying. You know where I'm going with this. Like I'm not, you know, someone who has a lengthy criminal record or has even violence on my record. You know, why I don't have violence on my record? Because before it gets to that point of no return and screwing yourself over in life with, you know, this trailing criminal history of yourself, because in my country, if you have a criminal record, you can't get a job because everybody does police checks here. In my line of work, if you have a criminal record, you are not getting a job in this country, in my province. Actually, in Alberta too, because I had to go through police checks out there for the type of work I do and the level of responsibility that I had. They want to make sure that they're getting the appropriate people in those positions, because if you're going to be leading a large team of people, they want to make sure that you're not one of these people that you're going to see on the news, you know? That would be an epic failure, wouldn't it? Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me. Like, are we getting punked right now? Like, seriously. Holy shit. Yeah, you got that right. Hey, Evelyn, how's it going, girl? Yeah. Yeah, those are the worst kind of criminals, were the ones that were protesting for our freedoms, you know. But don't worry about it. Like, this guy's got, you know, 59 charges, some of which were, you know, violent, not even allowed to see all of his children. Just there's no words to explain stupidity, in my opinion. I think I have a pretty good understanding of the law, even though I'm not, you know, law enforcement or anything of that nature. But again, it's something that I've been interested in since high school. I remember taking a law class in high school. And we had a mock trial and I was like one of the lawyers on the one side and my case won. Like, and I've always been that way. Like, I mean, if I feel very strongly about something, I make sure I do my research. I gather my information. I know the facts and I'm armed with that on my side. And they're like, I can get actually quite obnoxious and not listen to people when they try and convince me different, because I know what I know. You know what I mean? And I don't speak about things if I don't fully know or understand or grasp it, or because I wouldn't really want to go up against someone like me when I'm on a fucking tangent like this, because, you know, there's no way that you can fight logic with lies, in my opinion, or misinterpretation or any of that. There's just, I'm not having it. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening. I don't have my listening ears on. I'm not having it. Not on my watch. Like, no. So, yeah. So one of the brothers is dead. One is still at large. In my opinion, at this particular point in time, with the information that has become, you know, readily available to just us average low lifes, I don't believe we're looking for a person at this point. I believe we're looking for a body. That's my opinion. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I know it's tough because I come on here and I talk like this, but I'm angry. And this I'm angry because of situations like these that could have been prevented. But people in the powers that be are focused on all of the things that are not of value, that distract you from potential and actual threats, that in my mind and in my opinion make situations like these not only avoidable, but kind of make them happen in a sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not forcing people to go out and commit crimes. But if you've been looking at the bigger picture of what's been going on around you for the last several years, you see the writing on the wall. You know what's going on. And, you know, for them to try to undermine our intelligence as human beings is adding insult to injury, in my mind. You know, I just don't understand it. And, you know, I like I said yesterday, there's going to be times are worse, are going to get worse before they get better. And we're going to hear of more situations like this. And it's sad because at the end of the day, innocent people are losing their lives because of just walking around with, you know, so much animosity and so much anger and so much hatred and no viable outlet to get that out is what escalates situations like these, in my opinion. For people that are prone to, you know, being a criminal or being, you know, whatever. Like, not everyone is affected by that, because most of us have logic and common sense and say, you know what? Like, at this point in my life, I don't want to be a criminal. I don't want to go to jail. Like, you know, but there's some people that don't have that rational thinking when it gets to become too much and to a certain point. And there is no doubt in my mind, you know, that the Indigenous people absolutely have had a lot more trauma in their lives than most Caucasians, let's say, especially in Canada, especially with, you know, the residential schools and the remains being found on these. And it was so big that the Pope actually went to British Columbia and apologized to the Indigenous people, to try to start to make a reconciliation. I mean, an apology is nothing in my mind, but it was a starting point. And, you know, all I can say is it keeps coming back to this for me, is that, like, I'm seriously scared for my niece's future. I have one who's 17 and I have one that was literally just born this year. And I can't even wrap my head around what the world is going to look like when she hits my age. I can't. And I don't want to, because it'll probably make me cry if I thought about it with any critical thinking. Because, you know, something has to change. We've been screaming for change for a long time, and we keep going unheard, you know, and then they're adding to it with insults and division and anger and hatred, and turning families and friends against one another because of opposing views. It's just the perfect storm, you know, the perfect storm for a disaster all the way around. I don't know. I don't know. And the fact that we are now, what, 36, 40 hours, 48, nearing 48 hours into this. One brother's been found deceased. The other one is still unknown whereabouts. That doesn't give people reassurance at this point. And yeah, you're not supposed to care, you're not supposed to have an opinion, you're not supposed to criticize, but we want you to remain vigilant, and we want you to call in suspicious things, because now we want the people's help. Now we want to listen to you guys. Now we want your opinions. Now we want your information. Now you're useful to us. I don't know. I remember, being a kid. I grew up in a different time than these guys even that we're talking about here, where you were friends with your neighbors and you played on the streets. We didn't have cell phones. We grew up before technology, took over the planet. You went and played hide and seek with your friends, and if you had a problem with someone, you didn't get weapons. You went out and you punched each other in the face, and then you know what? You were best friends after that. You know why? Because that's the way the world worked back then. And you didn't hear about situations like this. Maybe it's time to go back to basics. I wish I had the answers. I wish I knew. I wish I could literally, like, snap my fucking fingers and be like, boom. Here's what we need to do. Here's the path going forward. And ironically, I do have some sort of plan, but the thing is what I would see as a plan forward will never happen, because it would take hundreds and thousands of people to publicly basically denounce themselves, retire from their positions, admit that you're a failure, admit that you fucked up, admit that you were corrupt, admit that you were taking deals in closed doors behind backs with mayors and judges and police and premiers and prime ministers and cabinet people, from the bottom to the top. And it will never fucking happen. That is not even reality, because these people are not going to give up their fucking gold watch pensions. It's not going to happen. So what I see as a viable option, as a way out to kind of, start at a starting point somewhere, is never going to happen, because these people are so narcissistic that they don't even have the ability to admit that they were wrong and that they fucked up, and that they put your lives and futures and livelihoods in jeopardy, because that's beneath them. They don't do that. They're perfect. They make no mistakes in life. They're just perfect. And if you point out their inconsistencies, well, then you're just, a criminal anyways, and your opinion doesn't matter, right? Our opinion doesn't matter. I don't know, man. Something's got to change. I'll tell you right now, he ain't in no hospital. If this guy is, he's gone on a stabbing spree. I believe, I'm just going to put my opinion out there and say he turned and killed his own brother. Okay? There's nothing this guy's going to do now. There's nothing he won't do. And the likelihood of him sitting in a hospital looking for help, it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. And this is a horrible thought, but my thought is he's probably laying in a fucking ditch somewhere dead. You know. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Yeah, because someone knows where this fucking guy is. Yeah. And the thing is they have pushed too many people into that position where most of us don't have much to lose anymore. The only thing that I pretty much have to lose at this point now is my dog and the roof over my head. And dude, snatching, you live in Ontario, you know how expensive everything is. Even with a job, soon most of us aren't going to be able to afford it. The rents are through the fucking roof. Gas, food, everything, inflation, blah, blah, blah. You can only push people so fucking far. And then shit like this happens. And then everyone's like, oh my God, how did this happen? Take a look around. But no accountability, You're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to be hurt. You're not allowed to have any opinion because that makes people feel uncomfortable. They don't know what to say. Well, I don't know what to say. Oh, okay. Well, figure it out at the eulogy, fuckers. It's sickening. It's really sickening. It's what this world is today. I would love to go back in a time machine and just stay young and naive forever, man. I don't want to see the fucking truths of this world. And now maybe I'm starting to understand why so many people don't want to fucking see what's happening today. I get it. Because when you do, it's bad, man. It's bad. It's shocking. It's upsetting. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And even if you were like the happiest, bubbliest, friendliest person before, once you see reality, it changes things. Changes your outlook. Changes your demeanor. Changes your opinion. So yeah, I guess, if there's one good thing to come out of it is now I understand why people don't want to see the truth. I get it. I don't want to see it either. It's sad, you guys. Sorry, I just needed a second to kind of collect my thoughts and stuff. Maybe that's, maybe that's why some of us have been screaming so loud for so long is because we see what's happening and what's about to come. And we don't want it. The whole fucking world is on the brink, man. All I can say is that, people should really open their listening ears soon. I put the link in the chat if anybody wants to come on. That's the disheartening part of it all. But I understand now why they want to put their heads in the sand, because it's just too fucking ugly. I never understood that before. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. If anybody wants to come on, I put the link in the chat. I gotta let my little man outside for a pee. Well, my not so little man. Fuck. Bigger than most humans. Come on, Dakota. Come on. Let's go outside. Careful. Sorry, 1 second, you guys. I'm just letting my dog out. You don't have to come on if you don't want to. Oh, fuck, it's raining again. God, rain for 2 days, no doubt. Oh, no, maybe it's not. It's just the wind. I really enjoyed the summer, but I'm kind of looking forward for this shit to just be over and let's go on to fall now. I don't want to take my air conditioner out. I want to open the windows, get some fresh air up in this bitch. All right. I have no idea who this is, but hello? Hello? Whoever, Rain, you're muted. So you have to unmute yourself. Your microphone is muted. I cannot hear you. Nobody can hear you. You have to unmute your mic. Oh, they're gone. Yeah. Oops. I don't know. I'm just gonna look at one thing here real quick, so don't mind me for 1 second. Sorry, I just seen something really hilarious. If Trudeau is as popular as the media says he is, let's see him walk down the city street with no security. Sorry, totally off topic, but I just seen that on Twitter and I kind of had to laugh. Yeah. Well, and that's the sad thing, is that that's all it is doing, is just creating division amongst the wrong people. You know, amongst good people that choose to look at the same situation differently for whatever reasons. Probably because they're happier that way. If I'm honest. Ignorance is bliss, you guys. I wish I could go back to not knowing as much, because knowledge is a powerful thing. And nobody wants to walk around the world, you know. There's my dude.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey,
How are you?
Good. Yeah, another fucking lovely night, right?
Right? Another night when I should be sleeping, and nope, because, you know.
Yeah, we're all vampires. It's fine.
I know, yeah. That's when I do my best work. It's quiet, silent, you know.
Snatching brought up a very good point earlier, saying, like, this is talking from the state's part.
Yep.
Police do not have a duty to protect you, and that's true. That's 110% true. There's case law and stuff in the states that, yes, police don't have a duty to protect you. Yes, that's their job, but depending on where you are, where you live, it could take the police some time to get to you. You know, you call 911, say there's someone breaking into my house, or there's someone shooting at me, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a very valid point that snatching brings up, because yes, in the States, the police do not have a duty to protect you. So we have to rely on ourselves. Like you were talking about, we have to rely on ourselves. But the most important thing with that, in the States at least, and like I said, I said it earlier, I wish I knew more about Canadian law.
Right, yep.
But in the States, if you use deadly force, you have to go through two processes. There's the criminal side and the civil side. So you could be cleared criminally, like by like a jury, or what do they call them? You could be cleared criminally, but still be civilly held liable in civil court. Your state, or whoever's estate of the person you killed that tried to kill you,
right,
sues you,
right.
They have that right in the States, which I think is fucked up. But they have that right in the state.
Yeah.
The estate of the violent criminal that sued you, you know, can actually file that lawsuit, and then you could be found wrongful, because the laws of evidence are different in a criminal
right,
a civil suit.
right.
And the word I was looking for earlier was grand jury. So a grand jury could clear you,
right,
but they can still, the estate, the family of the violent criminal, the piece of shit that fucking invaded your house or tried to rob you, shoot you, whatever, could still sue you and be like, oh, that was fucked up. Like, you know, just because he was coming in there trying to kill you and steal your shit doesn't mean he was a bad person. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But in the States, in the States, they can do that shit. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that needs to change. But like I said, I don't know Canadian laws. I don't know what that is.
I'm not sure. I think that they have both criminal and civil as well here, but I'm not sure. Like, yeah, that's true. If they don't win the unjustified homicide charges, they're going to try and bankrupt you, sadly. Yeah.
Yep. And they will go after the estate of the, or you can call it, it's basically called an estate, but whoever the remaining family is of this piece of shit violent criminal that tried to hurt you, steal your shit and whatever, they can, in the states,
yeah,
they sue you. And again, the evidentiary laws are different. It's minimal. It's basically who the judge believes in a civil issue in the states versus a criminal thing.
What isn't one burden of proof and the other one is preponderance of the evidence or something?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That kind of lays it down. So preponderance of evidence, criminally and civil, it comes down to basically, like you just said, but who the judge believe. Oh, Chris, why are you still awake? He told me he was going to bed like a half hour ago.
Well, then he heard us and was like, "Oh, I got to get in on the fun."
Well, it's fine. He's got a busy day. It's a holiday for him,
right?
But yeah, it's different in the States. I wish I knew more about Canadian law, because in the States, and snatching, I'm sure will agree, it's really I'm going to cuss on your channel. I don't care. Fucked up. Because even as a cop, I have to go through the grand jury process using force.
Right.
Force or any kind of force if someone wants to charge me. But civil end of it is completely separate. So cleared legally, like on the criminal side, but I could be going to court for, defending my life, the life of my family, the life of an innocent person I just came across and something was happening to them. And these brothers, and I kind of, and Carol brought it up, I kind of called it the last time, like one's dead and now the other's run. It's not going to end well for the other brother.
No.
Either way. Chris, why are you awake? Told me a half hour ago you were going.
Well, I shaved and now I'm like wide awake. So I'm having a cigarette.
I'm glad. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad you're here, and I'm sure Kim is too. But
absolutely, yeah.
I thought by now you'd be passed out.
No, still breathing.
Okay. Well, we all hear that, but what's that noise?
Oh. Sometimes it's you all.
But no, Kim, I'm glad Kim came on, because she's doing an update, Chris, on this these asshole brothers, and one's dead. Holla. And like I said, it's not gonna end well for them. Well, it didn't end well for one. Whether the brother did it, whether the other brother did it or not, doesn't really matter, because it wasn't going to end well for either of them, regardless.
Yeah.
So we just need to know more facts about. I kind of have an instinct of or a perception of why they were doing this, but
I don't even care. Just punish them.
Yeah, one's gone. We got one more, and guess what? He's gonna be ended too, one way or the other. The other. That's a fact, and I brought that up in our last conversation. That's how it works out. It's how it works out. It is what it is. So that was their choice, though, to do that shit. So fuck them. Fuck them.
Snatching left you a comment, and he said, Section 34 of the Criminal Code of Canada for the self-defense laws, if anyone is interested, at 556 Media.
I'll have to look that up. I'm not familiar with any Canadian law whatsoever, but I will actually check that out because I don't know what Kim can explain it. I'm sure what your self-defense laws are there because I don't know.
Well, let me look it up because I've never done like a deep dive into it because I've never really had to to exercise it, to be honest with you, not in like not in this capacity anyways.
So I don't know how it varies between the states and Canada, but like I said, in the states, you got the criminal aspect, the grand jury, and you're cleared through the state's attorney's office or whatever, and you go through internal affairs and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then you have the civil side, which is completely different. So you can have some scumbag, violent piece of shit criminal whose family decides to sue you after you've been legally cleared, but then the whole civil thing is a separate issue.
Yeah.
Go through that too. And a lot of people in the States don't know that. A lot of people in the States think, well, I've got a gun, I can defend myself and shoot and kill somebody or just shoot
not that easy.
Yeah, no, it's not that. No, Chris, you're right. It's not that easy because once you do that, you've got the criminal side and the civil side. So you got two things you have to go through. And man, you can win on the criminal side and you can lose on the civil side and vice versa. It's fucking ridiculous. My personal opinion is, I'm speaking from my experience only.
Yep.
Is if some piece of shit is trying to hurt you or an innocent person on the street that you don't even know or your family, you have a right to defend yourself, your family, that person. And I don't think that estate should have the right to civilly pursue it. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Once you're cleared, I think you should be cleared. And that's
in a case like that. Yeah, it should be.
It should be done. But snatching is Canadian. Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
I went snatching, and Kim, your gun was up there fucked up.
Yeah. I know.
They're fucked up.
I know. Well, I personally, my personal view is I don't own any guns. I think I'm psycho enough without them.
Oh boy.
No. I mean, like if it come down to it, obviously, if somebody comes at me with a gun, I don't have a chance. But like I'm pretty strong physically that like I'm very like I've kicked some guys' asses in a situation where I had to, but like I'll just face it with my fists and I'll go down fighting. In other words, like I'm not gonna just take it, but I don't necessarily think, guns is always the answer for myself. Not that I'm opposed to them. I just like the checks and balances that you need to go through the process of even getting one is just not. I don't want the government knowing that much about me, to be honest. Like
guns, and again, speaking from experience, guns are not the only answer to every confrontation.
Right.
But training is key. Number one, whether it's firearms or something else, training is key. Yeah, I mean, you guys have stricter gun control laws than we do, but they're moving towards stricter gun control laws here. Oh, by the way, Kim, have you met Chris?
Hi.
Chris. I'm a representative of the Gotti Dating Network. No, I'm just kidding. But
that's right.
Where's your card?
Yeah, he's like,
oh my god, that's funny.
We're gonna put him on the Love Connection.
Yeah, Chuck Woolery be back in 2 and 2. Like.
I had to. I'm sorry, I had to.
That's funny.
But yeah, getting back to the thing, like people don't understand there's in the States, and it's different between criminal and civil, and there's a big difference. And like I said, you can be found completely cleared or innocent on the criminal side, but you can get your ass shoot off and lose millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on the civil side in the States, which is fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. In my opinion, if you're cleared criminally, why can there even be a civil process?
I agree.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Carol said, Chris, we're going to hook you up eventually.
He's trying hard, eh? That's funny.
I tried to hook him up with my friend Mary the other night, but
I remember, yes.
Yeah, there's a little.
He's always trying to hook me up. He's constantly hooking me up with girls.
Well,
by the time he's done with me, I'll be a Casanova.
Yeah, right.
I feel like a pimp now.
That's kinda, huh?
That's weird. That's weird.
Nah, you're not getting any money for it.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Oh my God.
Civilly in the States and get.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so going back, Kim, to this whole topic, this other brother is done.
Oh yeah.
Done. So one's dead and gone. The other one, I don't care how it ends up, because I know which way it's going to go either way.
We just want to catch him.
He's going to be done too, one way or the other.
Well, it's starting to make sense to me now why there was such a gap in the information that's being released, because it doesn't make them look any helpful or good, even in the opinion of most. Like, I mean, the parole board didn't see this guy as a threat.
Yeah, this other brother's still a threat, but they're saying, like, they're speculating that he may be wounded too, and whatever, his brother, and they're also speculating that he killed his brother, which could be true. Which could be true. But either way, he's going to be stopped. He's going to be caught or captured or dead. One of the two. Doesn't matter. I know that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Do they know where he is?
They do not. No.
They're saying they don't.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
So he could have been bled out already.
Yeah.
He could be in a ditch somewhere, bled out. Who knows?
That's what my hope is.
Yeah, he could be. But either way, like I was talking about the last time we were talking about that when this whole thing started last night, right? It's like,
thank you, Carol.
I know the ending to these stories. I know it's going to happen. And it happened to the first brother, and now it's going to happen to the second brother. And I mean, that's how it works in real life. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, they make movies out of this shit. But I know how it works in real life. And one's gone. The other one's going to be gone one way or the other, alive or dead. It doesn't matter. And I think, in my personal opinion, I think the second option is the best bet because that's safest for society.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and it's none of my business. But I'm just saying, just speaking out of my ass from my experience.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all. Yes, snatching. He was found in the grass. Yep. Yep. But he was apparently found in the grass, dead. Kim, Carol's a good question. That's for you because Canada.
Let's see. Sorry, I was just looking at Twitter.
No,
if they catch him, do they lock him up for life or put him? Well, as far as I know, they would arrest him and detain him. But again, I've seen so many things that question, our authorities and their decision making. I honestly don't know. My hope is that he would be apprehended and held without bail until, he is ultimately convicted. But in reality, I'm kind of hoping we have to avoid that and he's just dead, but yeah.
So in Canada, do they have a like a mental defense, like a incompetent to stand trial kind of defense, like they do in the States?
Honestly, I am not 100% sure. I want to say that might be an avenue, but I'm not sure that that's ever really been used as a legal defense.
Okay.
I mean, again, like when I was listening to the press conference with you guys or reading the article, and it was like all of this to try and gain sympathy for him because of the, upbringing he had. And again, it was like, we've all suffered shit in our lives. It does not excuse the fact of what he has done. And, it would be a hard sell for anybody. I'm going to look that up. I'll have a better answer for you the next time we talk about this, because I want to make sure that the information I'm giving out is accurate. I don't want to, if I'm not sure. Death penalty? No, we do not, unfortunately.
Okay, that was what I was going to say. That's a follow-up question. So there's no death penalty in Canada?
Wow. No, there is not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm still going with my initial opinion, and the first one's already dead. I'm still sticking to my original opinion that we talked about. I think the next brother, I think it's just going to end badly for him. One way or the other. But and Carol pointed out in another chat, like I called it, but I didn't call it yet because the other brother's still out there. I thought it was going to happen both at the same time.
Me too.
But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's going to end badly for him too, one way or the other.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
I think there needs to be like, I don't know how you would word it, but like a separate entity apart from the police investigating themselves, like an SIU or something like that. We need like a separate board of people to go over these types of situations and events, and basically, like, when there is a situation, so in Canada, if like say there is a crime and the police show up and there's like someone gets shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a special investigations unit that comes in and it does investigations, but people say it's compromised because it's the police investigating themselves. We need a separate entity apart from that, with no political or any possible ramifications done to them, to kind of go over this stuff as a play-by-play of like how these things were able to escalate to this level, and have accountability. Because like this shouldn't have, like 59 charges, the guy was 30 years old, and it led up to like mass casualties. Like that's not okay. And how someone from a parole board deemed him as not an essential threat or immediate danger to anybody. Obviously they were seriously wrong.
Yes, and we have those exact same things in the States that you're talking about. However, they also don't work.
Right.
So we have state's attorney's office, probation, parole, things like that. Department of Corrections, which is related to Department of Probation, Parole in the States, but they also don't work 100%. They also do not work 100%.
Right.
But it goes back to snatching, talking about what it comes down to is we should have the right to defend ourselves, right? Without this government interference. However, the government loves to interfere with right under the Constitution and laws of the United States to defend ourselves.
Right.
It can be at the federal level, the state level, excuse me, but it in the United States, they do have these overseers, these oversight agencies and committees that do evaluate these instances, but they're still not always right. They're still not always right. And the question remains, like you brought up, like how do you deal with this kind of thing? Like these fucking assholes have obviously been on radar before. And just like in the States, you get on radar, you even get locked up for something, and then you get let out. You're back roaming free, right? Amongst the population, and then they go and do what they fucking do. They get violent, they kill people, they rob people, they whatever, steal from people. And how do you stop that? How do you stop that from the get-go? I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I
don't know. I think, in order to know where you're going, you have to look at where someone's been. And, there's been a lot of evidence to support that there was a lot of violent crimes and at least one of the brothers' criminal history that we're hearing of. And it's like, if people are escalating and their crimes are getting worse, I mean, it doesn't take anybody with any sort of, common sense to see, like, I mean, the potential, like the risk factor for them to escalate and reoffend is extremely high. And I don't know, like, I mean, I don't know the answer, and that's what's got me a little bit choked up, because it's like, how do we proceed?
And that's the thing. That's there's some similarities between Canada and the States, because you've been, like, not you, but like, people have been caught for doing whatever crimes, but then they're just fucking let back out into society. It's like, well, you caught them in the first place. Why didn't you keep them? It's like,
well, that's it.
Yeah, it's like, well, was this criminal? Like, it's catching fish. Like, is it undersized, or is it okay to keep?
Catch and release? Yeah,
it's stupid. It's so stupid.
It really is. And the things that, the higher levels that be consider a priority over, I consider, like, people's lives of the utmost priority.
Absolutely.
And that should be taken with all seriousness and precaution, and but they're more worried about protests and people, like, opposing their policies, and that's not what it's about. It's about humanity, and it's about people, and it's about lives that have now been changed forever, because of two Native brothers, for whatever reason, have decided to play God, and now have ruined so many people's lives. And it's just, it's how do they find peace with it? How do they process it? How do they move forward from here without any real answers at this point? I know it's really early on in the situation, and that will, things will come forward as time goes on, but it's just, it's really sad, and I couldn't imagine being one of those families that are just beside themselves right now. Why? Everybody wants to know why did this happen? How did this happen?
And I mean, again, there's all kinds of speculation about why they did it, because they haven't released motive or anything like that. And I think it was suggested that it was drug related or something.
Yeah, there's drug and alcohol involvement for sure, from what I'm reading. Yeah,
but regardless of the motive, it was still done. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't grasp onto, is like, forget the motive. It was committed. It was done. And now you've got a bunch of dead people. You got a bunch of suffering families. And forget the reason for it, because really there's no justifiable reason for it. But it happened. And these gentlemen, who one is gone, and the other one is going to be ended in a bad way. Regardless, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to end in a bad way for him. So one found out, He probably doesn't know, but he found out, and the other one's gonna find out. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Chris, I just texted Chris. He said he's got to go to bed. That's why he abruptly left.
That's okay. Good night, Chris.
Yeah. Good night, Chris. Yep. Bite my tongue. But yeah, no, there's no excuse for this shit going on. I don't care what country you're in. There's no excuse for this stuff. And then Kim, correct me if I'm wrong. I forget. Snatching. That's right. Snatching brought like police don't have the duty to protect you and blah blah blah. Because go back to, you can't have a cop outside your house 24/7.
Right.
Right. That's the cost to taxpayers. I don't care what Canada, America, whatever.
Yeah.
It would be astronomical. Plus, and I'll bring this up. That cop that may be stationed outside your, if this were to occur, that cop stationed outside your house may not have the appropriate or best training or real world experience to deal with a situation that comes at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I can say this as a former cop, I never relied on other cops. A couple, yes, I did. A couple cops, I did. But generally speaking, every cop, no, I didn't fucking rely on them to save my life. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was to my understanding that the, first responders, cops, etc., had, a certain time that they were supposed to respond to calls within, high priority calls. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I thought there was.
No, you're right about that. There's generally a standard, but it depends on where and things like that. It's like, well, we
Right.
you there within 6 minutes or 8 minutes or wherever. But it also depends on the area, the geography,
Right. Yeah.
and how many actual cops. I'm talking about the states now.
Yeah.
How many actual cops or sheriff's deputies, because there's a difference in the states. So you have, like, say you have a vast, huge state with vast unincorporated areas and like deserts and forests and things like that, where you have a smaller population and they're far away from urban areas. So you got the smaller local police department or county sheriff's office. So, and they're going to be understaffed in the first place. They're not going to have there's not going to be enough. Like the closest deputy sheriff in, say, like 100 square. Look at Alaska. Alaska state troopers have to. They'll drive to an airport.
Yeah, fly in. So,
to go to a call, or they'll drive to a harbor, take a boat to go to a call. So it just varies. It just varies. And that's not the Alaska State Troopers' fault.
No.
The area in which they live and the number of personnel they have and the resources they have.
Right.
Because of the geography to respond to these type of calls. That's all.
Yeah.
It's the same way across. It's the same way across all the states.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, and I used to watch that show all the time, Alaska State Troopers, and I used to be shocked that it's like, holy shit. So you could have a mass murder in like a desolate town in Alaska, and the cop might not be scheduled to fly in for like a week, to come pick somebody up. And it's like, whoa, maybe we take for granted our resources, and, I don't know, but it's just, I can't imagine a world like that. Like, I mean,
that's the truth and reality of well, again, just the states, and snatching. I think I made this comment to snatching. So say, I don't care if you're in a small town or a major city, if there's a critical incident, like a mass incident where a lot of resources are being directed to, then you're not going to have a lot of other mass resources that can respond to your particular emergency, right?
Right.
So, and I know that from experience. So,
Right.
like a bunch of us are shoved into this one critical incident, and then
Yeah.
another critical incident comes out in progress. Like there's only limited resources. I don't care if it's police, fire, rescue, EMS, whatever. There's
Right.
only there's an even limited number that can respond to that, depending on where you are. And it sucks, but that's the real world that we live in.
Right.
It really is. And then that's where it comes back to, like you were talking about, Statue was talking about, we have to rely upon ourselves.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. And that's, forever, Kim, forever, Americans are relying on our police, our fire rescue and EMS to take care of the problem like that, right?
Yeah.
But now they're figuring out, oh, that doesn't actually work in the real world.
Yeah.
So, and now they're trying to figure out solutions and everything. But now you have less cops, a lot less cops. Fire rescue EMS is, it's about the same. But yeah, you have. I don't care where you live. You have one big situation going on, and you expect to pick up the phone and call 911 and have the whole world show up. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually very paramount point to the situation that we're discussing, because again, these are very isolated towns. Like the two towns that these incidences occurred in, between the two towns only have 3,600 people. So their resources are probably extremely small, if any at all. So that's actually probably a really good point that, should be considered too, which I wouldn't have thought of unless you brought that up. So that's a good point.
No, I mean and I worked for a small town. I think my the first department I worked for, I don't know, like 10 cops, and then 7.
Right.
And like if something, like there's only like one cop on duty usually.
Right.
And if something major happened or something, I don't care what happened, that cop was tied up. So they have to call in resources from somewhere else.
Right.
But when I was in a large major agency outside the DC area or bordering the DC area, if shit broke bad, it was still the same thing.
Right.
It was like you have to call in other resources. So you're not going to get the immediate 911 response. You call 911, you're not getting the cop there or fire rescue EMS, depending on the call. You're not going to get them there as if they were just in the station or on patrol and not involved in something else. So people don't understand that even though we have these resources out there, police, fire rescue, EMS, they're not always going to be quick. They're not. And it depends on where you live, and it depends on the staffing of these different agencies. It's just, it is what it is. That's how we operate. And even now, like we just talked about, the staffing is less, especially on the police side.
Yeah.
Less.
Well, yeah.
Even
yeah.
less.
That's a good point. I wouldn't have thought of that, if you didn't bring it up. So that, I guess that's something to consider. But again, tell that to the grieving families,
I get it. I absolutely get it. And you know what? I'm pretty sure some of these families are going to file some type of civil actions against what do you call them? Provinces? Is that what they are?
Yeah. So the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, probably in this jurisdiction, I believe, would be the ones, or maybe Saskatchewan. No, I believe it's the RCMP, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. It could be the, whatever, Saskatchewan Police or whatever. I don't know what their structure is out there. Like, I mean, I've driven through those provinces, but I'd never spent any significant time. Like, I did stay in Saskatoon the one night when I was driving back from Alberta to Ontario. I stayed overnight in a hotel just to sleep, though. But I mean, so I wouldn't really know the inner workings of that. But yeah, like, I mean, you just always want to think that there's someone there, you know, when you need help, but I've always never relied on anybody. Like I just always have had my own back, you know, like I just,
Mhm. Yeah.
you can't
And
rely on anybody anymore. So you just got to make sure you're prepared for anything.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Do you have a in your vehicle? Do you? This is kind of changing
Yeah.
topic, but
No,
not.
it's okay.
Do you
Go ahead.
have a like they call it a bug out bag or a get home bag, like a backpack with like supply, like emergency supplies?
I should.
Vehicle?
I should. I don't.
You don't?
No, I should. I
You're
know.
fired.
I should, but I'm pretty resourceful when I gotta be.
Nah, you need to get like a little pack, a cheap. Do you have Walmart up there?
Yeah.
All right, go to Walmart, get one of their cheap backpacks.
Yeah.
Which actually are pretty decent in my experience, but go into their camping section.
Yep.
Buy like some of the dehydrated food, the fire starting material.
Yeah, that's true.
Blanket, emergency poncho, little stuff like that. They're cheap. They're all cheap
Yeah.
for the most part. Throw it in a pack, and also some type of container for water.
Right.
And a bladed object, like a knife, cheap stuff.
Yep.
I don't care. You can get it all at Walmart. If you want to go expensive. But do that and keep it in your vehicle 24/7, 365.
Right.
So you always have something. Some people call it a bug out bag. Some people call it a get home bag. But just you have that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We never know, especially like with these maniacs that were running around. Well, one now. But you never know. Like,
right.
You could be locked out of your own neighborhood. They couldn't even get to your house because they had a blockade or something because they think so now you got to survive, you got to eat, and but say fucking World War III happens and you're out just driving around minding your own business. Next thing you know, you got the emergency broadcast coming over the radio or whatever happens. It could be a bad storm, it could be a natural disaster, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if you don't have these certain supplies, then you're kind of screwed.
Yep.
And it's cheap to just be, like I said, just to be prepared. But
I pretty much got most of that stuff anyways. I used to have, like a go bag or whatever you call it, and I haven't. I should, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Now that I think about it.
Contact me offline and I will kind of guide you. I've been prepping for like 20 some years, but I can give you like the basics of the like cost effective and legit way to do it. But Walmart is actually some of the quality stuff or some of the quality items are not the best, but there's a lot you can do for cheap, and just leave it in your truck, car, whatever you drive, and 24/7, just leave it there. And at least you have it. At least it's there, and that's something. It's a resource to go to.
Yeah.
Boy, I got way off topic, didn't I?
No, that's all right. Go wherever. It doesn't matter. We don't need to keep. There's not really any updates, and go ahead, talk whatever.
Okay, snatching. Had a bug out bag.
Yes.
Dad ended up getting into a bad wreck, and the window glass breaker ended up saving him as he was trapped. Yes. And snatching, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you have the stuff with you, then you're prepared. If you, how's it go, Kim? If you need it and have it, you're good. If you need it but don't have it, you're fucked. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it is what it is. And there's some cheap shit out there, like really cheap shit. I don't care if it's Walmart or Amazon or eBay or whatever. There's some really cheap shit out there. Some of these things work. A lot don't. Some of these things work. You can create your own little survival kit very cheap and keep it with you 24/7. I don't care if it's in your vehicle, your house. But
right.
You should always have wish that was something. But anyway, so this other brother fuckhead's going to get caught or dead.
Yeah, I agree.
Going back to going back.
I agree.
But yeah, we'll see.
My gut tells me that he's already gone, like not alive anymore, is what I'm feeling.
Maybe, but we have to wait for the officials.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's just my opinion. Who the hell am I? You know what I mean?
Oh, I get the feeling. I've been in front of so many freaking TV cameras and reporters over my time. It's only until you're authorized to release information and then they publish it that it's going to get out to the public. But I mean, he could be I forget who said it. He could be lying in a ditch somewhere dead at this point. Who knows? But until that's officially released, we don't know. But either way, we do know that it's going to end badly for him, which is
absolutely
awesome. Which is awesome.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, it doesn't sound very nice, but you know what he has done is trumped any feelings I may have had of sympathy. You know.
Hey, I'll break it down to 2 words. Fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did what he did. I don't give a shit. If he showed up at my house looking for help, I know what I'd do. But that's
same.
That's none of my business.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm just looking to see if there's been any updates. Like, I mean, the silence is fucking crazy to me, you know, like the big gaps of time, like the hours and hours of blocks of time is just.
And that's the delay in the agency's response to providing updates in my experience. So something might have major have already happened, but it hasn't been authorized to be released because, I mean, I know there's a criminal investigation.
Right.
One of the things as a public information officer is as an agency is to consistently update the public because you don't want people hiding in their houses and locking doors and being afraid and things like that. So there is a responsibility for an agency, I don't care if it's federal, state, local, whatever, to release information, to give an update.
Yeah.
But some of the information that could be released could also affect the criminal prosecution or an investigation in general. So that might be a delay. Maybe there's some. Maybe they do have him. Maybe they found him. Who knows? You'll find out first.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking on Twitter to see if there's been any news updates, but I don't see anything of significance yet. But yeah, like, I mean, like you said, you know, the people in those communities that are like paralyzed in fear in their homes right now, like, I mean, you know, you can't help but feel for them. Like,
yeah. Or like Carol said, that they may be on to something, and so maybe they don't want to. And I understand what you're saying. They could have information that they don't want to be made public because they're tracking him. They know general whereabouts, and they don't want him to be alerted that they know, and that they're closing in. That's a viable possibility, honestly. Snatching Benelli M4, dude. If you can afford a Benelli M4, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. That's a you know what a Benelli M4 is, Kim?
I have no idea. I'm assuming a type of firearm.
It's a very expensive semi-automatic shotgun. It's a tactical version. Actually, my agency used to issue them. If you didn't have the pump action, you could go to the class to get a Benelli M4. But yeah.
Wow.
If you can afford one of those snatching, dude, good for you. Good for you. They're not cheap. Benelli M4. Jesus. That's some shit. That's a serious shotgun.
Mr. Smith is in awe. He's like,
I am.
yeah.
I am. My old beat partner carried one. I was like, anytime we went on like something, I'm like, you got your. He's like, yeah, I got my M4. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
And you said you've never owned a firearm or don't own one or
No, I don't own one.
never.
No, I mean, I've always kind of had some sort of protection on me, like either a dog or a knife or, when I live near the mountains, bear spray.
Or a knife.
Yeah. Or both.
Put a knife around the dog's collar and go, sick him.
Well, I know it sounds funny, but Dakota isn't like no little chihuahua. He's a 150-pound big black German Shepherd that scares like grown-ass adults, men, and he bites. And yeah, all I got to do is let him loose, and like, you don't need a gun. Like this guy he'll shred you. Like I was one day, we were in the middle of the pandemic. Actually, it was at the very beginning. Sorry. And I went for a drive one day because I was so sick of being cooped up in the house, right? So me and Dakota, we decided to drive down to Niagara Falls. So we're at the falls and there was literally nobody there, okay? Like, and which is rare. Like, I mean, it's a tourist town, millions of people every day, right? So we're there and there's a group of 4 guys walking towards us. And for whatever reason, I don't know, this trail was about 12 feet in width. They had so much space. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they felt like they needed to come up in our personal, like, damn space. And it was the first time, this is how I found out my dog bites. So we're standing there. And these guys, like, I'm serious, they were really, really close. Like, they had the entire path. I don't understand it. But Dakota leapt 5 feet in the air with his mouth open and just shredded the guy's jacket. Like, he just had a bad vibe off somebody. They were in our space. He didn't like it. And I was like, whoa, right? Like, yeah, shocked me, scared me. I was, like, secretly kind of impressed. But at the same time, like, oh, my God, right? Like, holy shit. Like, what did he do? Like, he didn't actually connect with the guy. But he was letting them know, like, dude, back the fuck off, right? So yes. So there's been a few instances where he's kindly let people know, do not come near me. Yes. So yeah, he's something else. I wouldn't want to run into him on a dark street by myself unleashed.
I think that because I had 4 shepherds over my life, and I love them. Now I'm stuck with pugs, but anyway, it's a different story.
Yeah.
They have a natural instinct. They can be very well trained.
Oh yeah.
Natural defensive instinct.
Yes.
You can't compare it to maybe Belgian Malinois or
right. But I think he might even have some of that in him too, because he's got a very unique look. It's like his markings are like he's black and a really deep tan, but not like your traditional looking shepherd. And he's got the white on his front, but like there was something about his eyes that are just a little bit more than just a German shepherd. But he's very, very big. He's the biggest dog I've ever owned in my entire life. Like he's massive. When I used to come home from work when he was younger, he would jump up and like give me kisses, and like his paws would be on my shoulders. I'm 5'9". He'd be face to face with me. Like he's a big guy, right? So but yeah, I mean, I didn't train him that way. It was just he's just naturally instinctively protective of me. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Maybe this other motherfucking brother should show up at your
I feel sorry for him then. Like there's yeah. Oh yeah, he's Yeah, I would love to sit back and just watch somebody who deserved it to just get it, but you know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
it's
I love how Snatching is using Oxygen Thief
I
because
know, I noticed that too. That's you.
is that I associate that to reality because there's so many walking among us.
Yeah, there is.
Especially these, well, one now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oxygen Thief is the best, I think. Is it an adjective? Yeah, adjective to call
Oh
it.
shit, man, I forget. School was a long time ago.
It's kind of like a, it's kind of like a, I think it's because adjectives are descriptive. But
Right.
anyway, whatever.
If it's not a pronoun, we don't talk about it.
Wow. And that's true. And that's true.
Good night, Carol.
Good
Good
night,
look at your
Carol.
MRI. Holy.
Thanks for coming on, Carol. But yeah, holy crap, Oxygen Thief. That I've used that term for shit several years now, and I still stick with it because that's what they are. That's what they fucking are. That's what they are.
I know, and I usually don't give them names either, but because they're still wanted, or well, one is still wanted, then yeah, I think it's important to let people know the names. But yeah, I agree with you.
And Kim, like well, we've said it a few times. This other one,
yeah,
ain't gonna be around much longer.
Right.
One way or the other, not going to be around much longer. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I agree.
Not going to be. But the damage that they caused in their wake,
yes,
will never be forgotten.
Right.
Shouldn't be forgotten, but will never be forgotten.
No.
But, they're done. They're both done. One's already obviously done, but the next one, that's I guarantee it's going to be coming up soon on the news feed for sure.
After this is handled one way or the other, alive or not, we'll forget their names and remember, the people, the victims, the incident, the day. Like it's just it's sad.
Yeah, it is. And whatever their so-called motive was, their agenda, ideology, there's still families and friends that have to deal with the loss.
That's right, forever.
The massacre that they did, and these were human lives. And it goes back to the Oxygen Thieves. They're taking human lives like for no reason, basically. Fuck them. And goodbye, first brother and second brother. Your time is soon.
You're next, bud.
Your time is near. So I hope you're watching this too, buddy, because if I was up that way, I would not feel compassionate towards you.
No, I don't either. I don't either. And it's, I mean, who would,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, who would?
Yeah. I wish he would escape Canada and came knocking on my door looking for refuge. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I think your area is a hot zone.
That would have been fun. Well, my particular area, it's rural, but
right.
He would have stuck out pretty
well, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that would have been interesting. But yeah, no, his timeline is rapidly descending.
Yeah. Yeah, the walls are closing in, bud.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. If I were him, I have to assume at this point, in my opinion, that he would be dead because, like, there's no good outcome unless he turns himself in. Like, he has to understand that, like, it's, you know what I mean? He knows where he's at. Like, he knows the way out. He knows.
I don't believe he's going to turn himself in because that's
no, I don't either. It's past the point of no return, and he knows it.
Mm-hmm. So
You know.
it's gonna captured or killed.
Yeah, and it's really a matter of, is he going to do it himself, or is he going to make a cop do it by suicide by cop, like, and put it on somebody else to live with because he doesn't have the jam to do it himself. Well, you have no problem killing all these other people, so
I don't know. I still have questions about the other dead one,
yeah, also do I.
how that happened, but
Yeah.
obviously there were traumatic injuries. So, and people are there were some not people. Some news reports say they were possibly self-inflicted. Well, I don't think that's accurate.
See, I wonder, because everything that I'm hearing from Canada is saying we have reason to believe that it is not self-inflicted. So again, who knows? Like, I mean, that's interesting.
So either he and his brother got in an argument, and brother took it out on him,
Yeah.
and got wounded and thing. But I think more realistically, they tried to do another homicide, another murder, and someone fought back, and then one brother's dead, the other one ran off wounded, maybe or maybe not, and then there's some other victim that either was not wounded or was wounded somewhere. But it's very rare that two people work together to do this kind of thing. So I would find it hard to believe. Yes, snatching tinfoil hat though, but it's kind of hard for me to believe that one brother would kill the other going through all this stuff based upon my professional experience.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I find it hard to believe. I think something else happened there.
Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting, actually, to me, because okay, so let's play it through then. Okay. So if that wasn't the scenario, okay, let's throw out a couple scenarios. So let's say, okay, first of all, drugs were involved, so mind-altering substances. I am not a killer, but I can imagine if you killed that amount of people, your adrenaline, your everything would be, escalated highly. So you're not logical, and you're obviously
right.
You're not logical in your actions or your thinking. So
it depends on the drug, but I get where you're going with this.
Right. So okay, so let's play out the other scenario that it was a potential victim possibly fought back. Now, would that be something that the police at this time would disclose to us or not disclose to us?
No, they're not going to disclose it until they have well, because remember, if somebody else, if there was another victim that fought off the two brothers and killed one of them, the police are going to protect the living victim for a period of time, like identifying them, that type of thing, because the other brother might be thinking about vengeance, revenge.
Well, and that's actually a very valid point, because there was an interview that I played last night, and these women, an older woman and her mom, an elderly, this man come up to their house, covered his face, said he was stabbed. They didn't help him or offered to help him because, and then he fled. So I was thinking, they got very lucky, because I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it's valid. I don't know if it's speculation, but some were saying that they may have possibly been going door to door, and attacking neighbors. I don't know if that's true. So don't take that for what it is. But if that's the case, then these women are extremely lucky. But my concern is they're putting them on TV. They're putting out their names. Like, this is a small community. Like, one of them still at large. Please do not put these people in jeopardy. Like, I mean, they're women. They're older women, and come on, use some sense here. Like, we don't need more victims.
It's not uncommon for violent criminals to target either previous victims or witnesses. That happens routinely. So the police generally try to create some time distance, especially if there's somebody still on the loose. They try to create a time distance from releasing that information to protect the safety of that victim or the family or the witness or whoever, until they know the exact whereabouts of the person they're looking for, or until they're captured.
Right.
Because they need to contain that situation to make sure there's, for liability purposes, that there's no threat to that previous victim, witness, family member, whatever. Again, I'm just talking
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
state
Yeah. Yeah.
side of it, but that's how generally we would operate.
See, and that's what it made me scared for those women, because, I'm assuming at this point he's not in the area. He's not even alive at this point, in my opinion. But I'm thinking, what if there's a family member that wants vengeance, and, like, these women's names and faces and everything are on TV in a very small community where tragedy already has happened. Reporters, if you're watching this, be smart. Do not jeopardize um our vulnerable people.
And that, Kim, is the biggest threat, is the news media, not necessarily the police, PIOs, public the police
Right.
aspect.
Right.
It's the
I agree.
what do they call them? Not just news, not just a general night crawlers. They go out and they film this amateur stuff. They follow
Right.
scanners and fire scanners. They film it.
Ambulance chasers.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically what they are.
Yeah.
And then they send it to a news media organization. All of a sudden, a news media organization gives them they pay them for whatever.
Right.
And they air it. And then, so like the bad person or people are watching this and going like, holy shit. And the police are even like, holy shit. Like, like everyone's getting new information before.
Right.
It's just.
But see, now, okay, yes, 100%. And I agree. And you guys know my thoughts already on the media and everything else. But, that's also like, as this is happening in real time, people might say something on a social media, in all fairness, just by coincidence, not knowing that what they have is viable and valuable information. And maybe that's how, part of it evolves, because you at this point we don't know what is paramount and what isn't until we kind of establish more of what's going on. But again, like, this is where my anger towards the media comes in, because spinning false narratives, putting people's lives in jeopardy, literally, when there's a killer on the loose, and you're putting their names. You might as well just put their address, because we're not talking about a highly populated area.
Yes.
Right.
Like, figure out. Yeah.
Absolutely it is. And like, there's nobody that would live on the same rural roads as someone and not know who they were. Like, and you're putting two older women's lives potentially at risk because of a story, when you could have easily withheld their names and blurred out their freaking faces, or just did audio for that matter. Like, be smart. Don't be a fucking idiot.
And exactly coinciding with what you're saying, you're exactly right. However, what they exist for, the news media, is views. Right? Number one.
Yeah.
And then the more views they get, especially if they're doing something live, or if they're like a police chase, or like fucking whatever.
Yeah.
They're there for the views, because that brings in more money, and they get more
revenue,
advertising and shit like that. It's all about the money with them. They don't care.
Well,
there are some. I will say this. I have met some very good journalists, reporters that have a conscience and have morals. I have met them. They do exist, believe it or not. And they won't do these certain things. But for the most part, especially the larger networks, they don't give a fuck. They're out for views and ads. And that's all they fucking care about. But I will say this, I have met some very honest, hardworking journalists during my time that do the right thing, and sure, they'll report the story, they'll write it down and report the story or televise it, but they won't do it in a way that endangers either a person or an investigation.
Well, and that's just it. A good reporter, in my opinion, never reveals its source.
Well, I'm talking for like it's just my face in either the camera or the newspaper, but yeah, but there's also, Kim, there's also limitations on at least in the States, sources and what a lot of editors will allow, and a lot of news organizations will allow. But I'm just talking from my personal experience.
Right. Yeah.
They won't. The good journalists, reporters would wait to release certain information or video until they're like, "Hey, can we do it now? Can we do it now? Can we do it now?" And they would wait for my okay.
Right.
Like, yeah, do it. And then they're all over it and they're good. It's the bad ones that expose, like fuckhead that's on the run now.
Yeah.
They could be doing an interview with him right now at like I don't know if you have 7-Elevens up, whatever convenience stores you have up there.
Right. Yep.
There could be some fucking asshole reporter doing a live interview with them, like on camera, doing it on social media or live network, going like, "Hey, what happened? What are you doing? Where are you going? Blah, 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 blah." Meanwhile, the police had no idea that this
right
here, and then this asshole journalist or whatever is like publicizing this fucker. And, it's a touchy thing, and the news media I don't trust 100%. Just so I know that are decent, but that's it.
I've had some bad experiences, even with prestigious, so-called prestigious, like Rolling Stone magazine and different so-called reporters, and seeing the top jobs that end up on the end result, and it's just okay. So and not to mention what I witnessed firsthand in Ottawa. Like, I mean, that was next level.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out there. But they're businesses. I get that part of it, but you have journalists with compassion and personal morality that do the right thing, but there's plenty that don't give a fuck.
No, they don't. No. Nope.
Do you mind if I smoke?
No, go ahead.
All right, I gotta go to my.
Yep, that's fine.
All right.
I'm just gonna look up and see if there's any new deets.
Okay. Yeah, I want to know. I'm on it because I'm telling you, this fucker's gonna be.
I know.
This last one's gonna be.
Let's see. Whoop. Let's see here. Okay, let's see what this quick update is. Whoops.
Hi there, Evan Bray, Chief of Police for the Regina Police Service, with a quick update on the work being done to locate Miles Sanderson. As was mentioned earlier today, in the joint release we did with the RCMP, Damien Sanderson was located deceased on James Smith Cree Nation earlier today. So the question now is, where's Miles? Is Miles Sanderson still in Regina? That information that put him in our community is now well over a day old, and we have not had any new information to determine that that is no longer factual. So we're continuing to operate under the assumption that he is here until we get information that indicates otherwise. And I think the question that's on a lot of people's minds today is, now that the long weekend is coming to an end, school is returning tomorrow for students, what does that look like in terms of community safety? I think there's a couple of things we have to remember. There were very violent incidents that happened yesterday in northern Saskatchewan. However, since then, no more violence has occurred. There has been no repeat of that violence in our community, and there's no indication of a threat of violence happening in our city. Also, no youth or children were targeted in those violent attacks that happened yesterday as well. Having said that, Miles is still at large and still considered to be armed and dangerous. We ask our community to continue to be very aware of your surroundings and report anything that's unusual or any information that you might have that could bring a swift resolution to this situation. That little piece of information that you know might be more important than you think, and I ask you to please report that to the nearest local police authorities. We will continue to work on this diligently through the night, cooperatively with the RCMP. And again, I've stated this before, we will not stop this investigation until Miles is safely in custody. Thanks for your time. Stay safe, Saskatchewan.
Huh. Well, ain't that some shit? You know, he's a nice guy and, you know, very well spoken. Kind of, I don't know. I would personally be a little bit more somber in reporting on that, but that's just me. You know, and then I want to eventually, when the time is right, when this is resolved, and we're not literally on the edge of our seats waiting for an update, I will address the victims and get away from, obviously, these guys, right? But because one is still at large, it's important to address them and know, well, that's what I expect, you know, is absolutely to find the dude dead. 100%. I think he already is. That's just my opinion. I'm just looking, sorry, I'm just looking for any updates that aren't like, you know, 15, 16 hours old. So 1 second here. Okay, 1 second. Okay. When is this from? Here's one. I don't know when this was posted.
Citizen's Heather Butts is in Regina tonight with the latest on the manhunt.
The hunt is on, hundreds of kilometers from the crime scene. Miles Sanderson is a wanted man.
We consider him armed and dangerous. Do not approach him.
Police say his criminal record dates back several years and admit there was already a warrant for his arrest long before he allegedly went on a devastating killing spree.
There were warrants for his arrest, but I can tell you there are many individuals in this province who have warrants for arrest.
Regina police received a tip yesterday that the suspect's vehicle, a Nissan Rogue, was spotted in the city.
We are still operating under the impression that Miles is in the city of Regina,
leaving those in the neighborhood of the sighting worried.
You usually think it's not anywhere near you, and it's possibly near you. So it's a little disconcerting.
RCMP have been using the Alert Ready system to update the public, with several alerts sent out within the first few hours.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good idea.
A system RCMP are criticized for not using during the Nova Scotia massacre. But even in Saskatchewan, some people wanted details faster.
Just as much as they can give us. Yeah, just want to keep safe.
Police in neighboring provinces are on alert with road checks at entry points. But this investigation is relying heavily on the eyes of the public, with several pleas from the police and the Premier.
Please contact the police or the RCMP. You will be preventing further violence, and you will be ensuring that justice is done on behalf of the victims' families.
Police say they're using officers from various departments, including tech crimes, traffic services, and the investigative unit. Still, they're confident someone knows where Miles Sanderson is, and they're urging them to come forward. Heather Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Crazy.
Yeah, someone does know where he is.
100%. 100%.
Someone does know where he is, but again, it comes down to I already know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I just told Snatching, like it's amazing how many people like this are wandering around among us, stealing oxygen, and
Right.
you know he's still doing it as far as we know, but just beyond that or before that, these two, I'll use the term fucktards, were doing it from the beginning. One's gone, no longer stealing oxygen, but now there's still one possibly out there stealing oxygen and possibly wandering, amongst us all. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I think they should be stopped from the get-go. But then we can only point the blame at our criminal justice systems in either country for letting them roam around unchecked. And
right.
then this kind of thing happens, and that is just it's a domino effect, and it keeps happening and happening and happening. But
Yeah.
I mean, fuck them. I know how it's going to end, so I know how it's going. Oh, Gabby. Oh, yeah, that poor girl. Yeah, and the cops fucked up on that one, Snatching. I will admit that for sure. The cops fucked up on that one. Gabby Petito. Yeah, cops fucked up on that one for sure. But you had a combination of, in the States, a combination of federal and local law enforcement, but they fucked that up. She may still have been alive if they didn't do that, but I don't know. I wasn't there, but from what I saw on the videos, the body cam videos, it probably could have been prevented. I'll just say the cops fucked up.
100%.
I'll say that for sure.
I found a good page on Twitter here. I don't know where this guy's from, but it sounds like he fucking knows them. I don't know. Hang on. Or is closely following this in some way, but he's like, they're talking about what we were talking about, putting the ladies on the TV, and he's saying, like, how do you know that he was injured, and he wanted to get closer to her to hurt her, and then like he's going on further to say, like, the guy's not a runner, he's in the area and someone's helping him. Like, hang on a second, like this might be a jackpot.
Could be.
Yeah, like, I mean, somebody in that area knows. He's not a runner. He's not far. Get the dogs out and sniffing him out. He's not far. Miles Sanderson car likely has no gas and has flat tires. Get the dogs and start sniffing them out. After 13 spots, they go back to the James Smith. Why? Safe house likely and pals. You know him. Somebody else. See, like, that's information that not a lot of people would know. How this guy knows something.
And I'm sure law enforcement there is paying attention to this stuff, but I don't know how they react to it there. But if I was still a detective and following up on this type of thing, I'd be paying attention to this kind of information.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like, because, by the way, who called and told cops they're in Regina? Sanderson. Miles Sanderson is 240 pounds, so that means he's likely not camping. Safe house. So I wonder,
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
That goes back to could be getting help or assistance from somebody
right
that he knows. But I mean, either way, it doesn't. It goes back to what we were talking about before. it doesn't matter either way. I don't care if he has a safe house. It's going to end badly for him. Like I called out, first brother's
Yeah.
gone. Second brother is. I don't know if I should predict this or not because it could come out bad for me. But I would assume, based upon just my experience,
Yep.
that it's going to end bad for him too, one way or the other. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But laws are different, so cops have to go by different laws in different countries as far as they go investigating. It doesn't matter what crime that's been committed or is being committed. They have to follow certain laws and policies and procedures. So I don't know what it is up there, but it's just going to end badly for the other brother, for sure. One way or the other, doesn't matter. I don't care. I just know it's going to end bad for him. So,
yep.
Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. But unfortunately, like we were talking about, you have all these victims and the families and everything that are in the wake of these horrible murders and violent crimes that have to deal with the remnants, the leftovers of it, while these one fuckhead now, that's still running around, as far as we know,
right,
stealing oxygen. So, but whatever, it's gonna end bad for him too. So fuck him. That's my opinion.
Yep, me too. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll find out. Well, let's see what they're saying tomorrow. I'm gonna see when the next press conference is, and obviously I'll keep following this, but I mean, it's not over yet, so we'll see.
It's not over. Well, here's the thing, Kim. It could be over yet, but we're not. We don't know.
Right. Yeah.
The media.
You're right.
But
you're right.
But I mean, like you said, we'll find out. We'll find out.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
Thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on and your input. It's good to get a different perspective on it, and I appreciate it.
I'm sorry Chris was a wuss.
Well, you know what? It's my fault. I'm off work. I'm waiting for surgery, so my time zone is different. So I should.
No, I think we're actually on the same time zone, but Chris.
We are, but I mean, for people that are still working, because I work days, right? So normally, if I was on my normal schedule, I would not be up at this hour. So if I could help it, So I mean, if we want more watchers, we should come on earlier. So, but I do appreciate you coming on. It's always a joy to talk to you guys. So.
It's always awesome, and I love the people, your subscribers, your commenters, and
yeah,
I think it's awesome. I'm just an old retired cop. I don't know. I'm just.
Hey, I really enjoy our talks. It's a good dialogue that needs to be had. So I appreciate it.
Well, again, thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you.
I see you still in comments. Thank you for watching.
Yes,
and subscribe. And anyone that watches this later, do the same thing, because she's a good person and she's bringing important information to light, and she's also just pretty cool, in my opinion.
Oh, so, thank you. It depends who you ask, but yeah, I think so too. I'm pretty biased though. So, all right, you have a good night. It was great to have you on. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you guys for joining. Anybody who gets this on the replay, thanks for watching. Comment below, like on the video once it posts, your thoughts. And I will probably talk to you guys very soon. Peace out, bitches.